Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm sorry, Sid. Hi.
Oh, God, don't be sorry. You kidding me?
No, I'm wrapped up in these meetings on peace. And I said, it's between peace and Sid Rosenberg. And I said, let's take Rosenberg, okay? So.
Potential fallout over Mayor Mamdani's Tax the Rich plan. One of his social media videos could be impacting a major redevelopment project in Midtown. Andrew Ramos has this story.
Ran for mayor. I said I was going to tax the rich.
It's this 60-second social media video starring Mayor Zohran Mamdani that may have jeopardized a multi-billion-dollar project. Citadel, one of the world's largest hedge fund firms, is spearheading the massive redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue in Midtown. As part of the mayor's campaign promise to tax the rich, Mamdani took a jab at Citadel founder and CEO Ken Griffin.
This penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich.
The city rolled out the ad referencing Governor Hochul's plans for a pied-à-terre tax, which would target secondary homes worth $5 million or more. The Tax the Rich movement has gained steam, with demonstrators filling the lobby of Governor Hochul's Midtown office Thursday. Many were taken into custody. Now, in a company-wide email to Citadel employees obtained by CBS News New York, Chief Operating Officer Gerald Beeson said this about the mayor. It is shameful that he used Ken's name as the example of those who supposedly aren't carrying their fair share of the burdens associated with New York City's often costly and wasteful spending. Beeson went on to outline contributions by Citadel team members over the years, including $2.3 billion in city and state taxes, also highlighting that the 350 Park Avenue redevelopment is set to create 6,000 construction jobs and more than 15,000 permanent jobs in Midtown. Political analyst J.C. Polanco.
What are you doing? Campaign's over. You're mayor. Act like it. It's just going to push them further to Florida, to Texas, where so many of them are taking their companies.
As of now, it's unclear if Citadel will indeed be pulling out of this project. Now, we did reach out to the mayor's office earlier to get a response about this situation. We did not hear back.
With the nation in its second year of a measles outbreak, 1,700 cases and counting this year alone, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle pummeled HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with questions about the spread and the vaccine that can stop it.
Can you please tell us here today what you're going to do to reduce the number of measles cases and improve the MMR vaccination rate?
Improve the MMR. We promote the MMR. We advise every child to get the MMR.
This summer, we're hosting the World Cup and celebrating America's 250th birthday. Tourists from all over the world will come to the United States. Unfortunately, some of them will bring vaccine-preventable diseases like measles. And unfortunately, our measles immunization rates have fallen, which means that this increases the risk of a measles outbreak in the U.S. What steps is HHS taking to address the outbreaks that may arise from the World Cup and the folks coming here?
Mr. Chairman, we've done better at controlling the measles outbreak than any country in the world. This is a global outbreak. It started before I came to office. Most of 80% of children affected are over 5 years old, which means their decision not to vaccinate predated my appointment. We have limited that last year to 2,200 cases. Mexico had 3 times that much with 1/3 of our population. Canada had double that much with 1/8 of our population. Europe had 127,000 cases the year before. We have a global pandemic. It has nothing to do with me. I wasn't in any of those countries.
We should not be comparing ourselves.
I've done a better job at limiting it than any country in the world, and you can talk to Governor McMaster about that and Governor Abbott about the help that we've given them in Texas. We know how to control the outbreaks.
The question was, what steps has the administration taken to track the diseases that would come in potentially through these? You're pointing out that other countries have outbreaks, which increases the likelihood they will bring that here, and our immunization rates have fallen below 95%.
So Springsteen is out on a tour, a Land of Hope and Dreams tour. And here's what he opens with. Go.
The mighty A Street Band is here tonight to call upon the righteous power of art, of music, of rock and roll in dangerous times. We are here in celebration and in defense of our American ideals, democracy, our Constitution, our sacred American promise. The America that I love, the America that I've written about for 50 years and has been a beacon of hope and liberty around the world, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, racist, reckless, and treasonous administration.
Boring. And he couldn't back it up. He couldn't back it up. Springsteen could not back it up. If Springsteen sat here for one of our long form, we'll do it live podcast, I can guarantee you it would not be a pleasant experience for Bruce Springsteen because he couldn't answer the questions, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what he does know is how to make money. So a local Jersey newspaper tracked down what Springsteen is charging for his top tickets in this Land of Hope and Dreams tour. Ready? In New Jersey, which just happened a couple of days ago, Springsteen charged $2,900 for top. New York City, $2,800. D.C., where I am now, $1,800. Chicago, $1,200. In addition, Springsteen is selling No Kings flags in the concourse of the stadiums or the arenas. So Bruce making big buck off this, big buff off the scent. Now I looked around and maybe he's given some of this money to charity, but we can't find it. And that means it goes in Bruce's pocket. Isn't there something a little tawdry about that? I think there is.
Get it in. McCollum fires. Hawks take the lead.
Offensively, and Dyson Daniels has been the best defender on Brunson.
The Hawks stole one in game 2. It's down to the wire here in game 3. 7 seconds left. Brunson with the ball. Brunson makes his move. Brunson on the baseline. Hawks got to track it down. Kuminga is over. The Hawks hold on. Atlanta takes a 2-1 lead in the series.
The reality of it is, and I told them this, it's a 7-game series for a reason. You know, stuff's going to happen. There are plenty of teams have been down 1-2. You know, shit, I even think Oklahoma City was down 1-2 last year, and they end up winning it. So I'm not saying we're going to win it or anything like that, but the reality of it is it's 7 games, and you take one game at a time. Each game is its own entity, and that's what I told the group. Now, this should sting because we gave ourselves a chance knowing that we didn't play our best basketball. So it should sting. But we need to feel it and get ready to be locked in for the next game, which we will be.
Back at the owners' meetings, you said offensive line is still a work in progress. What does this do for your work in progress?
It advances it, you know. We'll have to finish it off at practice, you know, for the next couple of weeks and put it all together. But it makes us a lot more stout. It's 2 picks that strengthen us down the middle of our offense, down the middle of our defense. I mean, these are 2 these are great players. These are 2 top 5 players in this draft, in our opinion. You couldn't do any better. I think Joe probably ran about a zillion mocks. Now, I mean, maybe a slight exaggeration. Zillion seems like a high number, but maybe it was a couple million. And this one didn't come up. This was not one that was really anticipated. And that just shows you that, reality is stranger than... Fiction is stranger than reality. Reality is stranger than fiction.
That's what.
You know what I'm saying. Right? This is exciting. This is not expected. This is something that's really a great opportunity for us.
I love this song, Electric Blue. Blue is the big color. Sid and Friends in the morning today. The very last piece you heard in that open was the head coach of Big Blue, the football Giants. Blue. That's going to be our color today, even though, of course, blue represents the disgraced Democrats. I'm wearing a red sport jacket today, but I'm wearing blue pants, so I guess I'm playing for both teams. But blue will be the color today. Blue is the color of the Knicks. What a nightmare that was last night at the end. Blue was the color of the Mets. I've got news about Met owner Steve Cohen. The Mets have now won 2 straight. Don't look now, but they went from a 12-game losing streak to the best team in baseball, I guess. I don't know. It is 6:14 on your Friday morning, back on your favorite talk show, Sid and Friends in the morning here in New York, 3:14 a.m. for our listeners listening right now in Los Angeles, and, of course, 1:14 p.m. It's lunchtime in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and we got a big show coming up today, like 7 amazing guests and all kinds of different topics, from talking about blue, the cops, right? We know how much attention we pay to the cops on this show. I was not there yesterday, but I'm assuming that Scott Monroe's rally on the steps of City Hall for the DEA yesterday went well. So we have a guy coming in who's been on the show a couple of times before. It dates back a couple of years through my friend Jen Kearns. His name is Randy Sutton, and Randy's out there in Las Vegas. He's a retired police lieutenant, but he founded the Wounded Blue. Talking about blue, there we go, which improves lives of injured and disabled LEOs through support, education, assistance, and legislation. So Randy Sutton wakes up every day trying to figure out how to make an injured cop's life better. It's pretty cool, right, Noam?
Sounds great, yeah.
So he's also, they have a car. And this one, I haven't figured out exactly what the connection is, but they drove this NASCAR from the West Coast all the way here. So at 7 o'clock this morning, when Randy Sutton comes on the air, parked outside our studios is going to be a legitimate NASCAR, which is going to go from here, I believe, to Talladega. Well, how about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yes. So Randy's coming, Jen's coming, and the actual NASCAR is going to be outside. We're also going to talk to Brian Kilmeade. This one is also interesting. Her name is Blaire White, and Blaire is a very famous conservative transgender. Blaire is one of those folks, kind of like Caitlyn Jenner, that is not for all the rules that the left, that the Democrats want to make for transgenders. I don't know if Blaire has buyer's remorse, and now that she is a girl, if she actually has remorse about that decision. I don't know that. But she seems to be on the side of parental rights, no surgeries for minors. And she has been speaking at all these major events. She's on television all the time. And she's going to be at the Met Gala later on tonight, which I've been invited to. And they're going to give me an award tonight. My friend Krisha Lenzo, who does a great job with the Met, the Metropolitan Club on the Upper East Side. And I've been to her events many, many times and honored many, many times. Tonight's the big one. It's the annual gala. And Johnny Tobacco is going to host it. JT, he'll do a great job. And a whole bunch of folks are going to be honored, from my friend Randy Fine, the amazing Florida congressman, to our friend, the lovely Emily Austin, to Rudy Giuliani, Mayor Rudy, back in the city tonight. He's getting a big award at this event. And they have an award from me, but the issue is I can't make it. We have a birthday dinner and weekend set up that Danielle, my beautiful wife Danielle, set up weeks ago. which has us staying in the city, going to Sammy's Romanian later on tonight. A big surprise for me tomorrow, so I don't have any free time to go to the Met Gala tonight, but Blaire White will be there, and she'll be in studio with my friend Adam Weiss coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. KT McFarland, she's got the latest on the war. We'll talk to Scott LoBaido, the great defense attorney, Joseph Tacopina, and the ESPN and really independent superstar at this point, the great Stephen A. Smith. It's a pretty good guest list, huh, Noam?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty diverse. We'll discuss a whole bunch of stuff like you heard in the Open. I mean, you heard the Knicks in the Open. You heard the Giants in the Open. You heard about this Ken Griffin story. That's the one for me that I think is the biggest story of the day. Here you've got Ken Griffin, who by all accounts is a wonderful guy. I don't know him, right? He's in that same category as our great boss. We love him, John Catsimatidis, Bill Ackman, that group of multi-billionaires. And Ken wants to do this big project not far from here at 350 Park Avenue, a project that would include 6,000 construction jobs, 15,000 jobs around the city, and a ton of money in the billions, I believe, maybe the millions, that would go to this city. Ken bought his second apartment or second home for just under $300 million. That's a pretty swanky place now. Just under $300 million here in New York City. And only in New York City, or at least blue cities across America, because Ken Griffin, God bless him, the CEO of Citadel, has worked very, 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 very hard. And because Ken Griffin is now enjoying the fruits of his labor, and because Ken Griffin decided to buy here in New York, not Palm Beach, not Myrtle Beach, no, here in New York, because of all those things, according to Mamdani and Hochul, get ready for this now, folks, get ready. Ken Griffin is a criminal. He's a criminal. Because what do you do to criminals? You punish criminals. Now, he may not go to jail, Ken Griffin, but he's being punished. I mean, the rich people in this city already pay the majority of taxes. The numbers keep changing in terms of percentage, but they pay the majority of taxes. Well, that ain't good enough from Mr. Mamdani, who's a millionaire himself, or Governor Hochul, who's a millionaire herself. So Ken Griffin, one of our treasures, I'm proud of the billionaires in New York City. I know how hard it is just to make a decent living. I don't make a great living. I don't. I'm being honest. I don't. Hopefully, that's going to change very, very soon. It needs to. But I'm proud of the guys that do make. I'm not jealous. I'm not angry. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of John Catsimatidis. I'm proud of Ken Griffin. I'm proud of Bill Ackman. And I love the fact that they put a lot of their money back into our city. And the city, which is already, I don't know the exact number, what the deficit is. It's in the billions. We are dying here. So why would this asshole mayor, that's what I called him, printed Katie Honan, come on now, go ahead, Chris Sommerfeld, put in Politico, I called him an a-hole. Why would this mayor in a city that is bleeding money, we got no money, we got nothing. I mean, we have enough money to have a ticker tape parade for Artemis 2, which is ridiculous. The fact they're even considering that is a joke, and I love the astronauts, and I love what we did, and God bless those people. We don't got a pot to piss in. We're going to make a ticker tape parade for a bunch of astronauts. I mean, how stupid is this city? And now the mayor is going to take the people that pay the taxes, that put the money back in the system, city and state here in New York, that bring jobs to New York City, and he's going to make fun of them in a 60-second video online and expect Ken Griffin to what? Laugh? Did Mayor Mamdani think Ken Griffin was going to get a chuckle out of it? Well, he doesn't care. Just get out of here, Kenny. Take your money and your jobs and all that good stuff and go to Palm Beach. We don't want you here. We don't want you. We don't need you. We're doing so well in New York. I mean, what is this mayor? What is the strategy? What is the thought process behind the mayor publicly humiliating a guy that has given his blood, sweat, tears, and money to New York City. You tell me, Noam, what is it?
Well, if you haven't seen this video,
I saw it.
So I just want to explain for people who didn't. Mayor Mamdani put out this 60-second video where he's standing in front of Ken Griffin's home. He's the CEO of this hedge fund. And he's like basically putting his hands together saying we're going to get his money because of this tax on pied-à-terres. And he goes after Ken Griffin. Now, Ken Griffin's in the middle of negotiating this project that will bring like $6 billion into Midtown Manhattan. And so then Ken Griffin, of course, the video gets back to him. And he says, wait a minute, I could build this thing anywhere. I don't need to do it in New York City. And they even put an email out yesterday to a city, company-wide email to employees saying that it's shameful that the mayor used Ken's name as an example of those who haven't been carrying their weight in the cities. That's total nonsense.
Well, it is. I mean, listen, the way he's thinking is dangerous and un-American and stupid to begin with. When he just says billionaires or millionaires, that's bad enough, right, Curtis? You like that too. But when you start to actually include people's names, that's downright humiliating. If I was Ken Griffin, I'd be out of here tomorrow. I really would. And I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I was the first to say it. We played the audio yesterday with Josh Hammer and Lara Trump when Lara Trump endorsed me for mayor in 29. And her father-in-law is going to be coming back with the same endorsement soon, trust me. I'm not even kidding. I'm being serious. But I said on this show weeks ago, because I am in recovery, recovering addict, and I know that the addict never really has a chance of getting better until the addict, most of the time, hits rock bottom. And now people's rock bottoms are different. They will tell you that if you continue to drink or drug or gamble, whatever you do, that there are three things waiting for you: prison, insanity, or death. None of those are great, no. Other people's rock bottoms may be they lose their family, they lose their jobs. It's different for different people, but when the addict hits rock bottom and says, I'm powerless, and then asks a higher power, could be God, doesn't have to be, for help, that's when the addict is on the road to recovery. But the addict has to hit its knees, his or her, and hit rock bottom before they can start to enjoy any real recovery. That's what New York needs to be. And that's exactly what this mayor is doing. When you humiliate a guy like Ken Griffin, who's in the midst of negotiating a project for $6 billion in this city, which is just bleeding money, you are eventually going to bring New York to its knees, and that's what we need. I know it sounds nuts because I live here. Right, I live in Queens, but I work in Manhattan. My beautiful wife works here in Manhattan. My amazing son goes to school in Manhattan. Ava works for Arthur Aidala in Manhattan. We're all here. We're all here. I can't stand walking the streets every day, and people will tell you, no, it's not that bad. They're lying. Junkie after junkie, can't get on the train. There's not one car I've been on in I don't know how long where there's not some just disgusting. If it's not a junkie, it's a homeless person, God bless them, who made all over themselves, pee-pee and duty. It stinks. Half-naked people all over. It's just, the city is grotesque. Anybody who tells you different is lying, okay? And it's going to get worse. And unfortunately, that has to be the case. We have to really hope that this guy, Mamdani, destroys whatever's left. Look, we had 12 years of bad leadership. 8 of Bill de Blasio. He may have been the worst ever. This guy's going to be worse. And not exactly a banner 4 years for Eric Adams. I know he feels good about himself these days, but 3 of those 4 years he sucked too. So we've had 12 years of pretty lackluster, if not terrible leadership. Here comes this clown. And it's going to get worse. And it needs to get worse. Because maybe then, in 2029, New Yorkers will wake up. I doubt it, because New Yorkers, I believe, are either stupid or they enjoy the pain. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I can't figure out why New Yorkers continue to vote people into office that harm us, that allow criminals to walk the streets, allow people to raise taxes so the successful leave. Besides the 90,000 other things, which include religious freedoms, Jewish people can't walk the streets. That's right. Persians are fine. There's no Islamophobia. Jewish people can't walk the streets. And New Yorkers just keep coming back for more. So we'll hit our knees. We'll hit rock bottom. Maybe Ken Griffin leaves. Maybe John Catsimatidis spends more time in those beautiful buildings in St. Petersburg. Maybe Bill Ackman decides, you know what? I'm out of here. I don't know. But I know this, that there's no way that we can continue to do this. We can't do it. You know, I can't even say this. Suzanne Miller was on this show last week. She does a great job. Big real estate person here in New York. She's got the Miller Report podcast here at ABC. And she talked a lot about this pied-à-terre. Is that how you say it?
Pied-à-terre.
Whatever. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm not from France. Jesus Christ. Can we get something that says New York and not Paris?
We can just call it second home.
Say it again.
Pied-à-terre.
Right. Now, that's Hochul's deal, of course, but it's not Hochul's deal. It's Hochul's deal, but it's really not, because everybody knows that even though it's her deal, she's the governor, that the person that runs this state, which is not supposed to be because the mayor usually runs the city, is Mamdani. So Hochul just had to figure out something to make Mamdani happy, and that's why you got this second home tax, which is called what again?
Pied-à-terre.
Yeah, that. So my advice to Ken Griffin is get the hell out of here, shove it up Mamdani and Hochul's ass, and pray for the rest of us that we somehow make it through the next 3+ years. You like that suggestion, no?
Well, no, I don't want him to leave. I mean, this is jobs and money for the city that they desperately need. So
what?
He needs to go smooth it over.
He ain't smoothing it over.
I mean, you know, it's almost like he's still running for mayor when he puts these videos out.
Well, that's what that person said. They said, you've already won. Now act like a mayor, right? All the crazy stuff you said, and you've won. Now act like a mayor.
I mean, to stand in front of a home of somebody who lives in New York City and create this video, that's what worked on the campaign trail. That's great. It worked for him. He won mayor because he was so good on social media. But you're mayor now, so you don't need to do those videos anymore. But he apparently still doing them.
And he was just on Meet the Press with Kristen Walker last Sunday, 5 days ago, courtesy of NBC. And he doubled down on everything. She asked him flat out, what about socialism? I've never been more confident that socialism is the way to go. You know, he said that, right?
Yep.
He doubled down on everything. He thinks he's doing a great job. He doesn't care who he offends, who he pisses off. Doesn't matter to him. Whether it's Ken Griffin or Sid Rosenberg or a rabbi, it doesn't matter to him. He's got his ideologies, his philosophies, his policies, and damn be New York for anybody who gets in his way. So you people out there that are nice to him and tell me he's got a nice smile and he's charming and he went to a good school, he's a smart guy, shove it up your ass. Shove it right up there, okay? He is a dangerous, bad guy. He's anti-cop, too. I don't know how anybody who's pro-cop can tell me that he's a nice guy. This guy couldn't care less if cops died in the streets. So every day is a different story. Every day with this mayor, it's only been 3+ months. It feels like 3 years. Because every day is a different story about how somehow or some way he is screwing the good people of New York. It's every day, no? Every day.
I feel like it is. We have a story at least a couple times a week anyway.
Just ridiculous. So again, Ken Griffin, do yourself a favor. Get out of here. And John, go down to St. Petersburg and, do a new deal first, of course, but then you can go. And Bill Ackman, I don't know what Bill, I guess he has a place in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's only worth about $10 billion. So.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of places, not just...
They got a lot of places. Yeah. The criminals are bad people. They have second homes. Oh, my God, they've actually made it. They can buy a second home. And I'm looking, as I'm saying all this, I'm looking at this idiot, Chi Osei, on television, who was arrested at this deed theft rally in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy a couple of days ago. And I can't stand this guy. And guess who was very, very quick to defend Chi Osei a couple of days ago? Mamdani. He never gets it right. He's gone to visit perps in the hospital, not cops. He's gone down to Rikers Island, hang out with the criminals, not cops. I just can't figure out what this guy has done right. I ask the same question every single day, and no one has been able to answer it other than, well, he's great with the kids, the child care. How cute was that when he sang, "The wheels on the bus go round and round" with Barack Obama? Cute. Cute. I wanted to kill myself. That was vomit-inducing. That was awful. But, okay, child care, he seems to be on top of that. Free child care. Now, I met my wife in college. Actually, I didn't. I met her at Captain Walters, but we took a class together in college, economics. We had an Australian professor. He was really good. He died from a brain tumor years later. But I remember, half drunk out the night before on a Friday morning, many, many years ago, 30 plus, sitting in that economics class. And the first thing that the professor said to us, and Danielle was sitting about 5 seats away, who knew that nearly 34 years later we'd still be married, or getting married. And he said, folks, I'm going to tell you this right now. There is no such thing as a free lunch. And I said to myself, what are you talking about? My friend Vinny bought me lunch yesterday. It was free. But I think he meant on a larger scale. There's nothing free. So when Mamdani promises free this and free that to some of these young idiots that voted him in, because he was voted in fair and square. There was no Muslim bloc. They weren't flying in radical Muslims from around the world. He won fair and square. He got this New York crowd in a tizzy. Told you this story many times. I take the ferry home every day. That boat, as Lewis can attest to, is packed with kids from Brooklyn, from Williamsburg, from the city, all young kids. And me, I'm a radio guy. So if you sit next to me, I tend to interview you. I just do. And I remember last summer asking all these kids, "Are you going to vote?" "Oh, yeah. I didn't say Curtis." Couldn't care less. They didn't say Cuomo. They didn't say Eric Adams when he was still in the race. Almost every one of them, in fact, every one of them, was enthusiastic in talking about Mamdani. Because he promised them free stuff, and I don't like the Jews. I love that. But there's nothing free, because for those dopey kids in Williamsburg that think they're getting something for free, which he's already lied about, last I checked, the buses ain't free, are they, Noam?
They're not, no.
What exactly has been free so far that he promised? Nothing.
Yeah,
Zero.
No.
But if it does happen, it's not free. Somebody's got to pay for it, and it comes in the way of taxes. And who are the people that pay for that? People like me. And I don't make $1 billion. So excuse me for hating this mayor. I can't think of one thing he's done. He's a hateful. He can't stand Jews. He doesn't like Christians. He wasn't there when Archbishop Hicks was installed at St. Patrick's Cathedral. He was not there. He has no issue making sure that you can't celebrate your kid's birthday in a park because he refuses to add police in and around the time of the World Cup. But there were no issues with every Ramadan event that happened in this city for a damn month. Is that not correct? No.
That is accurate.
But I'm supposed to warm up to this guy. You go, come on, Sid, give him a chance. He won. I don't care if he won. Why? Because I'm surrounded by morons? I'm the voice of reason in this city, in this state. Some days I feel like I'm the only one. I know I'm not, but some days I feel like I'm the only one. I wouldn't even consider running for public office. It's a disaster. Disaster. It's a major pay cut, first of all. On top of that, they go out of their way, the competition, to ruin your life. They really do. They go out of the way to ruin your life, and you got to deal with these idiots in the city council. Think I want to deal with that? 24 progressive lunatics in the city council? How's that going to go for me? I don't have a lot of patience. How's that going to go for me when Chi Osei comes up and says something to me? How's that going to go? Or these lawmakers, if I've got to go to Albany and deal with people like Andrea Stewart-Cousins or Carl Hasty, how's that going to go, Noam? Not so great.
No.
Why would I even consider doing something like this? Because we are effed. And not in a good way. No, it's Friday night. We're effed. This guy is the most dangerous politician in my lifetime. Well, how about that? That's a big statement. I just turned 59 on Sunday. He's the most dangerous politician in my lifetime. And the Knicks are down 2-1. Now what, Noam?
It's all downhill, man. The Knicks down 2-1.
Jeez.
Next game's in Atlanta.
Did you watch last night's game?
I fell asleep, but I could, see in the first half they weren't going to win.
No good, right?
Something's missing there. I can't figure out exactly what.
A great team.
Maybe that's it.
I mean, the bottom line is they're not a great team. That's the bottom line.
They should be blowing out the Hawks. It shouldn't even be close.
They shouldn't be blowing out anybody, okay? They're not that good. So they'll limp their way past Atlanta, and then they will get hammered by Boston in the second round. That'll be it. I'll tell you who the happiest guy in the world is today, Tom Thibodeau. Remember him?
Yeah.
That poor bastard coached the Knicks. They got better every year. The last year he coached the Knicks, he was 2 games away from the NBA Finals, and they fired him to bring in Mike Brown. And Mike Brown comes in, and they're already losing in the first round to an inferior basketball team. So somewhere Tom Thibodeau is going, how's that going for you, Mr. Dolan, Mr. What's his name again, the former agent who runs the Knicks? Leon Rose. How's that going for you? Right. You fired me for Mike Brown. Brown is struggling round 1 against the Hawks. I had this team literally a pubic hair away from the NBA Finals. Nobody's happier than Tom Thibodeau this morning. He'll lie to you. That's what people do. No. I want the Knicks to win. I coached here. I love New York. I love the Garden. I want them to win. No, you don't. You want them to lose every damn game so they can rue that decision that they got rid of you. That's being honest. It's like a radio host. Nobody wants somebody to sit in and get better ratings or... No. I love the fact that when I'm not here, the ratings suck. Love it. You don't want somebody else to succeed. Nobody does.
Morrissey has a song called We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful.
Of course.
No, and everybody... It's true.
Well, no, I mean, I have friends that I love. I'm okay with it.
No, you just admitted it,
Even my friends, really?
No, there's a tinge that's a little bit amused or happy when, I would have done that better.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know.
A little bit.
Probably
you
right.
especially.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I've got very successful friends, I don't envy them necessarily. I wish sometimes I was in that same position, but I'm not.
That's called envy.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if you've looked up that word.
No, but I'm not mad. I'm not like, oh, my God. Or I will say this in the radio business, and I say this all the time. This is nothing new. There's not a lot of talent. There's not. A lot of people on the radio, a lot of radio stations, a lot of podcasts, a lot of way to get your audio content all over the world. I don't believe there's a lot of talent in this business. There's a lot of people. There's not a lot of talent. Folks just say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Very few people in this business, in my opinion, are compelling, and very few are able to create their own content. We do that. We did that.
Please don't.
I did that.
Don't.
Shut up. No, but I'm serious. And people go, Sid's talking about Mamdani and the curse. That was brilliant. There's just so much you can say about Iran. People don't want to hear about the Strait of Hormuz anymore. Trust me. Just like they got tired of hearing about that lovely lady, God rest her soul, Nancy Guthrie. They don't want to hear it. You got to find a way to keep your audience interested. Be different. And we do that every day on this show. We've got great content, and we cover everything. We are the most diverse show in the country. How many of the radio hosts, maybe Clay Travis can do it. I happen to like Clay. He's very good. But how many of the radio hosts in the country can sit here and talk with the President of the United States and then break down the Mets in Minnesota, Yankees and Red Sox, Knicks and Hawks in the NFL draft like we can? Nobody. Nobody does that. And we're funny. Morning radio needs to be funny. We got Yucks. We got the best impressionist and the funniest guy on radio in Lou Ruffino. And Noam is hilarious. He's a news guy, but he's hilarious. And Justin's retarded.
That's nice.
We play great music.
All covered, I guess?
We do it all. There's nothing we don't do on this show. So I do get envious when I see radio guys or podcasters making a lot more money than I do when they're not better. If you really think Joe Rogan is more talented than I am, you're a moron. You're a moron. Some bald guy sitting there with some stupid comedian going on and on about a bunch of nonsense. Sometimes he's very, very compelling. Sometimes he bores the living daylights out of me. I'm never boring. Never. Ever. This guy makes hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. Am I jealous? Yes. I'm jealous because he's not better. I never care when somebody's better than me, well, at least in the past, and they made more money. That's fine. You deserve it if you're better. But there's a lot of people in this business who make a lot more money than me, and they're not better. And yes, Lou, that lights a flame under my ass. Pisses me off. So stop reminding me of that, will you? Jesus, it's Friday.
I'm making a note. Do not remind Sid.
God. What else is out there, Noel? Now I'm in a bad mood. Thank you very much. I haven't slept at all either. I was out at Trump National in Colts Neck last night for my friend Alex Adan. We'll get to that. Bobby Kennedy got grilled yesterday, and Alex Adan is a lot like Bobby Kennedy. We'll get to that. What else is happening, though?
This is not by far the biggest story of the day, but it's one that everybody's talking about. So this couple's walking their dog in Laurelton, Queens yesterday, and they go past this house that has one of those signs that says, "Don't let your dog relieve itself here." You know, you've seen those signs. And they
not pee-pee duty.
Either one.
You don't really
just
see
shows,
pee-pee just kills the grass, but you don't see it.
But when you see those signs, I know I have a dog. I pull my dog away. Well, this couple lets the dog do its business on this front lawn. This is yesterday. And the people inside see that happen, and they see to where this couple is going after that happens. So they come rushing out of their house yesterday, and they go and pee on the dog owner's lawn.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, these people are fantastic.
Well, that starts.
President Trump's got to give them the Medal of Freedom or something.
Well, then it just escalated from there. Fight ensues. A knife is pulled out. 3 of these people are stabbed.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
They end up in the hospital. They're going to all be okay, thankfully.
Oh, then it's fine. It's okay.
But
it's not fun until somebody gets stabbed.
But it is one of the number one complaints in the city, of course, is that people don't clean up after the dogs. And here's an example of that. Yeah.
Where was this exactly?
Laurelton. Queens.
That? Oh, that's by that's not far from the golf course is what the hell is that? It's a big area there. Queens, Long Island border. It may even be on the Long Island side. Douglaston, yeah. Isn't that close to Douglaston?
I forget where Laurelton.
Do you know?
I think that is right next door. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't have the map. Jersey City's all about Communipaw Avenue.
Right, exactly.
We came home from a wedding Sunday morning, Danielle and I. We stayed in West Orange, nice hotel. And we came back, and they had us going back. Sunday was the Jersey City Marathon. Did you know that, Noam?
I did.
Oh, you did? You live right there. So they had us go home for some reason through the Holland Tunnel right before the Jersey City Marathon. It took forever to get home on Sunday morning. So is that a big deal, the Jersey City Marathon?
I guess it is. They ran by my house, so.
Did you go out and give them water, cheer them on? Or
no, I did not.
Try to trip anybody?
Nothing. I stayed inside.
Is not near.
No, where's Laurelton exactly?
Laurelton is right, where the Belt Parkway starts to turn into the Cross Island.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Like Francis Lewis Boulevard around that area?
Where Francis lives. And it's going towards Belmont, but it's south of Belmont.
Gotcha. All right, we got a huge guest list today. We're going to start with Brian Kilmeade. He's in Houston this morning. The whole crew was there, him and Ainsley and Lawrence Jones. They're doing some type of giveaway. He'll explain it to you. So Brian Kilmeade, he's up next. He's live in Houston. And before it's all said and done, we'll talk to Randy Sutton, Blaire White, Adam Weiss, KT McFarland, Joseph Tacopina, Scott LoBaido, and Stephen A. Smith. All that on your Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning. We're going to kick some ass today, folks. I'm in that type of mood. Let's go. Friday, Sid and Friends.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Friday morning. Good Shabbos, everybody. I want to send a happy birthday shout-out. This guy's one of the best fans of Sid and Friends in the Morning. He's gone on to become a very good friend of mine. I love the guy, Dr. John Batash. John celebrating a birthday on Sunday. He'll be 53. He's a young man. I just turned 59, so happy birthday, John. But on a larger note, he's got these 2 beautiful twin kids. They were here, actually, you may remember, in the stage for our anniversary show. Beautiful boy and a girl. And they are turning 17 this morning, Raphael and Odell Batash. 2 great-looking kids, Raphael and Odell Batash, both turning 17 today. and their father, a great guy, John Batash. He'll be 53 on Sunday. All right, so we're going to get to Brian Kilmeade. Brian Kilmeade is coming up next on the Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Friday morning, always love to catch up with my guy. Does a tremendous job after me each and every weekday morning at 10 a.m. here on 77 WABC. Brian Kilmeade, also, of course, part of that Fox and Friends crew and his own amazing show, my favorite show on Fox News, 10 p.m. Sunday nights, One Nation. Brian coming to us live this morning from Houston, not because he's there for the Yankee-Astros game tonight. The Yankees taking that 6-game win streak and 2 consecutive series sweeps over Kansas City and Boston to Houston. Not because he's going to the Yankees and Astros game tonight. Why exactly, Brian, are you in Houston, Texas on this Friday morning?
Part of a 7-city tour. For year 250, Fox and Friends is going to be giving away an RV. So we're going to go to 7 different cities, have 3 finalists. Everyone's going to get an RV. These winners are going to get an RV key. It's all going to culminate where they all come to New York City. There's going to only be one key that works, and we're going to have an RV, and the person that gets that car, who starts it up, actually gets the RV. So first stop is Houston, and we're all here for it.
Oh, my God, that sounds so cool. That car starts up. Yeah, man. When that car starts up, it's kind of like a Price is Right type of thing. I just see that.
Yeah.
You're right? Like Price is Right. So, all right, that's exciting. We're getting ready to celebrate 250, and it's going to be huge here in July. Of course, it all starts really June 14th, which happens to be Flag Day and the president's birthday with that big UFC match on the lawn at the White House. So we're all excited about that. And by the way, talking about the president, I know that you're going to be heading out to the White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow night. So was our friend Bill O'Reilly. He was talking about it yesterday. First one for Trump. Yeah, he'll be there. First one for Trump. He's never done this. He sat out the last 5. He seems excited about it, or not really. How does he seem about this big dinner?
Well, I think the whole staff is there. They're all fanned out. I was talking to all the support team, the communications team. They've been invited by different networks to go. And they have, listen, this is his 5th opportunity, the first one he's taking. So I just think that he said, I'm going to make the most of this. I'm going to dominate this now. I mean, he went from the press just killing him every day. They're killing him, but I think, showed his power. He reorganized the whole press room. He talks to them 3 or 4 times a day. He calls them out to their face, but there's no grudges kept. So I think that at this point they all understand each other, and I think they're so smart not to get a comedian. Remember the ones who mocked Huckabee's weight? They just mercilessly go after Republicans instead of making fun of the press, which you should be doing. So now you just have this O's. I don't know if you know about him, but this is going to be phenomenal. I think they're still debating whether the president should take part in some of his antics. But, there's always a risk. You don't want to embarrass the president, but O's doesn't do that. Have you seen him on the NFL training camps, what he does? He's always featured in Hard Knocks. So I think that's a good idea. Do some entertainment that doesn't polarize.
Couldn't agree more. I think it was Seth Meyers who was hosting that dinner when Trump first won, and President Trump was like, back in 2017, no thanks. I want to get to Mamdani. I mentioned this a little while ago when I started the show. I did get a phone call yesterday from the owner of the New York Mets, and we had a great conversation. I'm not going to share all the details, but Steve Cohen and I talked for about 15 minutes. In fact, I'll be going to the Met-Yankee game on May 15th with Bill O'Reilly, and Cohen invited me to sit in the suite with him. He wants to establish, in his words, a great relationship with me. He wants to talk to me. He's interested. He does believe I speak on behalf of a lot of New Yorkers. So that was great with Steve Cohen, but he did say that, hey, the fact is the mayor in this city happens to be a very big Met fan, which is true. He is. Can't stand Mamdani, but he is a Met fan. But with that said, what a day for Mamdani yesterday. It does look like some of the people on his side are starting to turn against him. And the story you sent me last night about Ken Griffin, this is exactly why, above and beyond the Jewish stuff and all that, the cop stuff, this is exactly why people are leaving New York, and smart people can't stand this guy when he starts to make people like Ken Griffin and their second homes all of a sudden something criminal, Brian Kilmeade, here in the state of New York.
Yeah, so I just love this article, this story, because it's everything that's wrong with the squad, the socialists, Bernie Sanders. Oh, these billionaires got to pay their fair share. The top 25% pay 84% of all the taxes. Oh, that's not enough? So Ken Griffin says, I cannot believe you featured me on your stupid video. And he says, listen, I have $238 million penthouse. I bought it in New York. I pay huge taxes on it. And I'm considering, he's considering a Manhattan Tower project estimated to be $6 billion. So it's going to bring thousands of jobs to the city. And, of course, those people need housing, don't they? And don't these people go out to dinner? So this is the thing that Florida gets and Texas gets. I'll give Ken Griffin an incentive to come to my city because he will use his money to grow the city. And, my goodness, if you make a profit when you come, that's great. And he's saying, I might not bring my $6 billion project to New York City. You just mocked me. And what is wrong with getting a huge penthouse and not using it every day? I mean, since when is that criminal? So I just thought when he came out and said a lot of rich people are embarrassed. They're afraid for people to say, I'm a billionaire, except for the Trump attitude. Well, listen, I worked hard. This is me. Most don't want their wealth being brought up. So when you sit in front of his apartment and mock him, he's just going to turn around and go, look, this is what this is. I would be in your city if it was more affordable. Now you're mocking me. I might not bring $6 billion. And this is the same guy with a $5.4 billion deficit and it blowing a hole in his budget. So at one point, the doors closed, Sid, and does he say, what did I do? I have to turn this narrative around or I am going to fail. Do you think he says that?
I don't. I think he'd rather blow up and fail. He was just on with Kristen Welker, Meet the Press, courtesy of NBC on Sunday. He was saying, you know what, socialism, I believe now more than ever, is the right way to go. And my policies, I believe now more than ever, is the right way to go. So I think he'd rather see the city burn and go down in flames and fail than actually do something about it. Because don't forget, even if he fails, odds are, unless I run, odds are, all seriousness, he's going to win again anyway because New York votes for people for some reason who want to destroy this city. It is Friday. We are now just 2 days away from the big one, One Nation, 10 p.m. every Sunday night on Fox News. Great show. I love it. My favorite. What are we looking at, Brian Kilmeade, 2 days from now on One Nation?
Well, the last time the Republicans were on a roll, they were flat on their back. The guy that helped turn it around was Reince Priebus, the RNC. They won state houses, and they went back to House, and they went back to Senate, and then they got back to presidency. And now, and they were buried in debt thanks to Michael Steele and remember Mitt Romney. They were flat on their back. So I'm going to have him as my lead guest to say, 6 months left. Where do you go from here? With a war going on and everything else, he knows Trump better than anybody else. Reince Priebus is going to be with us. Got to get the brand new California Post is like the New York Post. I got the editor on. They had the huge debates out in California after the Eric Swalwell stuff. I want to talk about who's coming in front, why everyone's leaving that state. With the editor of the California Post, Jamie Lissow is going to be with us too. Peter Schweitzer is going to be with us talking about what China's doing leading up. Infiltrating into our AI world now, and what they're doing with Iran. This guy leads the charge on investigative reporting, so he's going to be with us too. Jamie Lissow is going to have some fun. So that is Sunday at 10, and we got a big radio show coming your way too right after you. We're going to be in Houston for it because we're doing, as you mentioned, a big special here for America 250. This is our first stop. So hopefully everyone will listen. And Sid, I will not drop the ball, I promise. And it's good to know you and Mets are on the road to recovery because I'm going to the game on Sunday.
You are? Oh, the Mets and Rockies, big one in Queens on Sunday. So when are you coming back?
So jealous.
You're coming back. Yeah, you're coming back from Texas tomorrow.
I'm going right to D.C. tonight.
Oh, right.
And I'm going to go. Yeah, and I'm going to go to the Correspondents' Dinner, a bunch of different events which I'll share with the audience. The Daily Mail party at the UK Embassy, the UTA party. I'm going to do a bunch of shoots for my new book, Uniting the States. And, of course, I'll be in Westbury with you October 17th, I believe, off the top of my head. Go to briankilmeade.com so I can see you in person in the round, which I saw Bill O'Reilly there. You're a good friend, and he was fantastic. And that's when I first thought, man, wouldn't it be great to be on that stage? So I'm going to do that, and hopefully we'll sell that out.
Oh, man, I can't wait. All right, enjoy Houston today. October 17th sounds great. But, folks, today's going to be great. Brian does a great job after me coming up on his radio show. One Nation, his TV show, comes your way 10 o'clock on Sunday night. All right, my man, we'll talk again. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
All right, stay within yourself, Sid.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can. Brian Kilmeade coming up next. 10 o'clock, right here on 77 WABC. Randy Sutton is stopping by next, and we have this beautiful NASCAR right outside the building, right here on 3rd Avenue right now, set to go to Talladega. We'll tell you all about it as the Friday edition of Sid Friends in the Morning rolls on.
This is Sid on Sports. Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com. Find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers, start out here in Atlanta. CJ McCollum's fadeaway jumper with 12.5 seconds left gave the Hawks a 109-108 win over the Knicks, putting New York down 2-1 in their first-round playoff series. Atlanta led most of the game, including an 18-point first-half lead, but New York rallied to take a 108-105 lead with 103 left on a Jalen Brunson three-point play. The Knicks failed to get a shot off at the end after Brunson turned the ball over. OG Anunoby led New York with 29. Brunson had 26, and Karl Anthony Towns added 21. Game 4 tomorrow night in Atlanta once again. Out to Toronto, the Raptors beat the Cavaliers 126-104. That series now knotted at, or not knotted, I should say. Cleveland jumping out to 2-1 lead there. And out in Minnesota, the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets 113-96. So Minnesota now leads that series 2-1. Out in Pittsburgh, NFL Draft Round 1 action last night. Fernando Mendoza, no surprise there, going first overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from Indiana. The Jets at the second overall pick, taking edge rusher David Bailey from Texas Tech. Picking 5th overall was the New York Football Giants, taking linebacker Arvell Reese from Ohio State. They picked again at 10 Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle from Miami. And wrapping out the local picks here at 16 overall, the Jets taking tight end Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. Head to the Diamond. In Boston, Cam Schlittler pitching in Boston, where he did grow up, rooting for the Red Sox as a kid, held his hometown team to 4 hits over 8 innings as the Yankees rallied twice for a 4-2 win, completing a 3-game sweep, extending their season-high winning streak to 6. Schlittler allowed 2 runs, struck out 5, walked 1, lowered his ERA to 1.77, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. wrapped 1 around the pesky pole. Up next for the Yanks, Will Warren starts tonight in Houston at 8:10 p.m. to open a weekend series against the Astros. And out in Queens, the Mets hung on to beat the Minnesota Twins 10-8 behind Bo Bichette's tie-breaking 3-run double for their second straight win after that 12-game skid. They take that series 2-1. Up next for the Mets, so welcome in the Colorado Rockies for the weekend. First pitch there, 7:10. Freddie Peralta gets a start in the opener. That's your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking outside the windows right now of our beautiful 3rd Avenue studios in Midtown Manhattan, and I see this race car, a legitimate NASCAR. Insurance King is, I guess, they're the big sponsor. It's written all over the car. So this gentleman who's sitting right in front of me has been on my show a few times in the past. Cop, lieutenant, out in Las Vegas for many years. But he started this organization called the Wounded Blue. And you guys know how much I care about and love our courageous men and women in blue. Was just honored again less than 2 weeks ago at Frankie Russo's place. Russo's on the Bay with Paul Morrow and Bo Dietl by the retired DEA. We've got a big event coming up with Scott Monroe and the active DEA coming up in October. But my relationships with the sergeants, with Vincent Ballalong, obviously the all the attention we paid to this Eric Duran case in New York City. So, listen to me long enough that the cops, I love the cops, love them. Part of the reason why I hate this mayor is because he doesn't like the police. But Randy Sutton is a great cop, has been a great cop, retired now. Lieutenant, and are you still living, Randy, in Las Vegas?
I am.
You are, but you're from New Jersey originally?
I was a cop in New Jersey for 10 years before I went to Vegas and did 24 years there.
Wow. So where in Jersey were you?
Princeton.
Ah.
I was a Princeton police officer.
Yeah, not Princeton University. You worked the streets.
No, the real town of Princeton. That was my hometown. I was a cop there for 10 years, a patrolman for 6 and a detective for 4. and then started my career all over again in Vegas, where I was no longer bored as a police officer.
Well, I'm sure not, because I have to imagine the mean streets of Princeton, New Jersey, not exactly Newark, but in Vegas, even though it's a lovely area, and those residential areas in and around the Strip where you probably lived, or live, I should say, are very, very nice. I've worked with many people over the years in both New York and Florida who now live in Vegas, and they love it. They love it. But there's a lot of tawdry stuff going on in and around that city, which you've seen firsthand. Weren't you injured at one point?
I am a survivor of 5 shootings.
5?
And, right, so you know what? I left Princeton because I was bored as a cop, right? And I was still on probation in Vegas when I was in my first shooting when a 15-year-old tried to ambush me.
Why were you on probation?
I was on probation as a
brand
new
when you
cop.
first start, right, right.
No, I wasn't on probation.
Right, I say, what did you do? So a 15-year-old kid in Vegas tried to kill you.
Yes.
And how did you respond to that?
So I was in a foot pursuit with him. He was in a stolen car. He was a gangbanger. And as I came around the corner of the building that I was chasing him, he was laying in wait for me. And as I came around, he was pointing his gun at me. And he was right next to a building. I fired, and my bullet zinged right by his ear and hit the building behind him, and a piece of stucco hit him in the head, and he thought he was shot, and he couldn't throw that gun down fast enough.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
But in one of these 5 shootings, if I remember correctly, it's been a couple years since you've been here, you sustained some pretty serious injuries, or no? Is that not true?
No, but what ended my police career was I suffered a stroke in my police car on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Wow.
And that was the scariest moment of my life. I literally was laying on the pavement, unable to move, unable to talk, as tourists are walking by me, taking pictures of me, laying there helpless in my uniform.
Well, what happened? Did you find out what happened medically afterwards?
Yeah. So like I said, I did 24 years with Las Vegas Metro. I loved being a cop. You know, my whole entire adult life. And being a Vegas cop, man, it was fun. I got to tell you. But it had its challenges. And 3 weeks before the stroke, my mother died in my arms. And
I'm sorry.
2 months before that, I was in another fatal shooting.
Jeez.
So there was a lot going on. But I was literally driving down Las Vegas Boulevard. I had a young patrol officer with me. And I'm talking to him like I'm talking to you. And suddenly I felt my brain slowing down.
You felt it.
And I started talking slower. And I realized I was having a stroke. So I got out of the car.
Yeah.
I said, get me medical. I'm having a stroke. And I got out of the car and then collapsed to the pavement, speaking gibberish, and then unable to speak and move altogether. And I got to tell you, I've been in some frightening stuff, as you might well imagine, but I was never more scared than that. I wasn't afraid of dying. Said I was afraid of living like that.
Oh.
And but once again, that angel that's been on my shoulder my entire career was with me again. The clot went through my brain, did its damage, and I thought I was going to go back to work. And then I'm in the hospital for a week. The doctor comes in, and I'm feeling pretty good. He says, "How you feeling, Randy?" I said, "I feel pretty good, man. I'm ready to go.
Go back to work."
And he said, "I have to tell you this. Nothing that we did here is going to preclude you from walking out here and having a heart attack or a stroke because you have a very serious heart condition, and you need to prepare for your own mortality." And I didn't expect that, Sid, and I realized that I was never going to be a cop again.
How many years? How long ago was this? I'm sorry.
This is I did 34 years total.
No, when did the cop tell you this? How many years ago?
I'm sorry, say it again.
When did you find out this information from the doctor? I should say?
About a week after the
Well, how
stroke.
long ago was this?
2010.
So, okay, so he said you've got a serious heart condition. Last I checked, if my math is pretty good, that's 16 years ago.
Yeah, I did. Well, I had quadruple bypass surgery a couple years ago.
Oh, you did?
So it's been, but you know what? I was given a great gift, Sid. But what happened after my stroke is what changed the trajectory of my life, that my own department turned its back on me and said, "We're not paying your medical bills. We're not giving you your benefits." And I said, "Wait a minute, you can't do that. There's a law about that." And they actually fought me every step of the way. And I got to tell you, man, feeling that betrayal really changed my life entirely. And I went to go see the sheriff who I worked for 24 years. I said, "How do you treat me like this?" He said, "Randy, it's not personal. It's just business."
Sounds personal to me.
And
but you don't hate the cops.
It was shocking to me, and they fought me every way. They spent tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money to fight me. I eventually won. They had to give me my benefits, but they ruined my credit, and the darkness of being betrayed like that. So then, I don't know if you probably might be aware of this, but I was the most featured officer on the TV show Cops. I've written a number of books and been in the movies like Casino and such. So cops started reaching out to me from around the country. Randy, I know you don't know me, but I was shot in the line of duty. My chief has abandoned me. Randy, I was paralyzed when my police car was hit. They've thrown me away. And I realized that this is not me. This is happening to cops all over the United States. And I realized that all they asked, they said, I feel forgotten, I feel alone. I just handed you a challenge coin.
Thank you for
and
that.
And on that, it says, never forgotten, never alone.
Yeah.
And that is what the Wounded Blue is. My entire team are heroes. Everybody on my team has been shot, stabbed, beaten, run over, screwed up and screwed over, and yet they continue to serve. They serve their brothers and sisters in amazing ways. We're saving lives. We're saving careers. We're saving marriages. And the Wounded Blue is touching lives in ways that you can't even imagine. I'll tell you one quick story because it's a happy ending. I'm not telling you any non-happy endings right now. Police officer in Texas, severely injured in the line of duty during a fight with a suspect, and he was abandoned by his department, lost the ability to walk when we met him. Through an incredible donor, we got him 3 major surgeries. He danced with his daughter at her wedding 3 months ago.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we're doing amazing work.
So you have chapters in just about every major city?
All over the country.
All over the country.
All over the country. I have people here in New York. In fact, one of my people has been featured on the news. He was recently really screwed over by a court. He was a lieutenant at Richie Mack, and he was the officer who was attacked on the bridge during the George Floyd insanity.
Yes, I remember, of course.
And they gave the guy a misdemeanor. They gave the suspect a misdemeanor, and talk about an injustice.
Oh, listen, you wouldn't believe what happens in this city. We have a story just a couple of weeks old. I mentioned his name, Eric Duran. This is a cop.
Very familiar with it.
You know the whole story?
Sure do.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was stopping a drug dealer, traveling at high speeds, putting literally 3 people's lives in danger, and the prick judge, Guy Mitchell in New York, gave this hero cop 3 to 9 years.
It's unbelievable. But this is happening across the United States. I mean, my last book, which came out 6 months ago, Rescuing 911, The Fight for America's Safety. And I talk about how we got here and what we need to do. We all need to become activists, Sid. And even if that means just going to the polls and putting people in positions of authority that need to be there, not idiots like Mamdani,
right,
who is about as anti-law enforcement as they get. I can't stand to see what he's doing to this city.
Terrible. You love this city. I know, again, you reared, you made your bones in Princeton, New Jersey. You're here often. You've been on this show now 4 or 5 times. You'll be in the city all weekend long. So explain to me this beautiful race car.
Oh,
it's a replica. It's not going to race at Talladega, but explain to me why it's out there. It looks great. What's going on with all that?
So Insurance King is owned by Dan Block. Dan's father was a disabled police officer. And so Dan saw me on Fox News, reached out to me. This is a number of years ago. Been a huge supporter of the Wounded Blue ever since. Well, Josh Balicki is the driver, and Josh is an amazing driver. Well, Dan Block, who owns Insurance King, he's the sponsor of this race car that's going to be racing in Talladega this weekend.
So it is racing, but not that specific car.
Not that specific car. It's sister car. So what they did is they are adorning their car with the Wounded Blue colors to bring attention to the Wounded Blue and injured officers. And so we have the car here. They've put the Wounded Blue logos all over it. It is amazing. And so we're celebrating the fact that they're supporting us, and everybody who NASCAR, of course, fans, they love the cops.
Well, NASCAR is real Americans.
Real Americans.
They love the cops. They love the country. They love Trump. They love all the values that we hold near and dear to us. Not these psycho lunatic Democrats who want to destroy all of us. So in that respect, I've never been a huge NASCAR guy. Covered it for many years on CBS.
Right.
And I got to know a lot of the drivers. When Jeff Gordon was winning those Winston Cup Series every year, interviewed him many times. I used to like this guy named Dick Trickle. That was his real name. But after a while, I could only watch the car go around the track so many times. And I'm not here minimizing the athletic ability of these guys. It's amazing. But in terms of just being good people, I think of all the sports in the world today, NASCAR is number 1.
I have to agree with you. I mean, this is not the first time they've adorned their car, but this is the biggest race yet.
Talladega. Yeah.
Talladega is Talladega, baby. Right?
Yes.
And so millions of people are going to see the Wounded Blue. And, of course, raising money is so important. You know, everything that we do is everybody's a volunteer except for one person. And I don't take a salary. I live on my pension.
Yeah.
And everything that we do is funded by people who care about their police. So what we're doing is asking this. Go to thewoundedblue.org, see who we are, see what we do. We're asking for people to donate $9.11 a month. And what we say is this. When you need help, you call 911. But when the police need help, they call the Wounded Blue.
That's awesome. God bless you.
I made that up, by the way.
I love that. That gave me chills just now. God, I got chills. You may want to ask the newest Las Vegas resident. He was picked number 1 overall last night by your football team, the Raiders. Fernando Mendoza, who won the Heisman Trophy and the national championship at Indiana, hit him up for donation one of these days because he's about to make a lot of money.
You got his number? I'll give him a call right now.
I'll get it for you. Randy, it's great to see you. You're a true hero, and you're great at this. You're great on television, great on the radio, great cop. Just a great American, and it's nice to see you, pal. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Sid. Thank you for supporting my brothers in blue.
The Wounded Blue, ladies and gentlemen. Find it, reach out, help Randy Sutton and our amazing cops all over the country who do need your help. When you go to Nome, he's going to give you the news. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to sit myself in this amazing NASCAR, take some very cool pictures. You can see them on my Twitter account coming up, at Sid Rosenberg 19, my Instagram, at rosenberg.sydney, my Facebook, Sid Rosenberg, and my Truth social account, Sid. So me and Randy are going to walk downstairs, take some very cool pictures in this NASCAR heading to Talladega, and I'll be back with a big hour number 2 right after Nome with the news.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Lara Trump is one of my all-time favorite people. She's on this show every week. And again, she's got My View, 9 p.m. Saturday nights. It's a great show on Fox News and her podcast as well. I've had the conversation with you, Lara, a couple of times now. Now, I know it sounds wacky. They said it was wacky when a TV show host of a reality show was running for president. They said it was wacky when a super action hero was running for governor in the state of California, or an actor was running for governor in the state of California, or a rapper was running for mayor in New York. That's why I keep saying to you, I got to run for mayor in 2029 because this guy is going to kill all of us.
Sid, would you please do it? Can we confirm that right here? Because as you heard, that kind of lead into that whole soundbite you played there, we all want New York City to return. This is the greatest city on earth. I mean, think about how many people have been made by New York. You could argue Donald Trump would not be in the White House right now had it not been for the city of New York. He changed the skyline, but it changed him, and it made him into the person he is today, the greatest president this country has ever seen. We have to have that city come back, and we need somebody who understands how to do it. We need a fighter, someone who's not going to lay down and roll over for all the woke lunatics out there. And God knows, Sid, we know you wouldn't do it if they tried. They could hold your feet to the fire. You wouldn't have it. So we need you. Let's go.
Counting Crows, Mr. Jones, after we replayed the little piece, Lara Trump and I yesterday. Lara wants me to run for mayor. So does Bruce Blakeman. And little birdie told me so does President Trump. I don't know. We're going to find out. Either way, you know, talking about President Trump, I was at one of his beautiful golf courses just last night, Trump National, in lovely Colts Neck, New Jersey. You guys have heard my friend Alex Zidane on this show in studio twice over the last couple of weeks, and he's running against Cory Booker. Cory Booker, that's Noam's guy. He loves Cory Booker. Cory's a big deal in New Jersey, very, very popular. Hasn't done a damn thing, nothing. Takes a lot of money from Wall Street. And remember that day when he spoke for like 27 consecutive hours? Noam, do you remember one thing he said after 27 hours?
But it was incredible.
It was unbelievable, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a jerk-off, Cory. And Alex Zidane stands for everything right. He's a big Trump supporter. Very pro-Israel. I love that about Alex. And, of course, he is at the very head of the Maha movement, which I've become very enthusiastic about the last couple of months on this show. You guys have heard a whole bunch of guests diving right in, whether it's medical freedom, religious freedom, issues with the vaccines. Right now, poor Bobby Kennedy, my guy Bobby, got grilled yesterday on the Hill about this measles outbreak. We're doing a good job here. He pointed out all the other countries in Europe and other places around the world where the percentages are way higher. Bobby's doing a great job with that movement. So we had this great event last night, and Jackie Tobacco happens to be the cousin of Johnny Tobacco. She did a tremendous job, and Victoria Capus, she's been on this show a bunch of times. She was there last night, did a terrific job. The whole committee, Kara, all did terrific work, Edie, and it was a lovely event. I tell you who spoke who I liked a lot, besides Alex, obviously, is a senator from New Jersey. I'm not sure if you know him. That's your state. Michael Testa, you know him?
Do not, no.
Mike Testa, he was really impressive last night. And Alexandra Bauer, she's been in studio. Scott LoBaido's buddy, blonde girl on Fox News quite a bit. So all in all, it was a hugely successful event last night. And Alex Sedan will hopefully have the opportunity to take on Cory Booker in November. Of course, he's got to win the primary first, and I believe there's about 3 men running for that Republican spot for that Senate seat. So we'll see come June. But to me, he is the most impressive. He's just a smart guy. Again, he's on all the right side of all the issues, and I love the guy. So thank you to Alex Sedan and his crew last night. Again, beautiful venue, Trump National in Colts Neck. And we move forward. I'm trying to get as many Republicans to win. You know that, Noam. I show up at a lot of events. They're not the favorites, these people. I understand that, and we talked about that last night. They're not the favorites. That doesn't mean I won't show up, because I feel like it's my job at this point to help every Republican win in every spot that I can help. And being that I'm immensely popular and very cute, I show up, no? So.
Yeah, extra cute, I would say.
Yeah, and the people go nuts. They love it, So I emceed last night. I spoke last night, and it was a lot of fun. I will take a break. We got a lot more guests stopping by. This one I'm fascinated by. Her name is Blaire White. She's a very famous transgender. She's on Fox News all the time. She is the conservative voice, but I guess much like Caitlyn Jenner, she's cool. She understands the issues with the community, the problems with the community, and she's actually on our side. So she's here with my friend Adam Weiss. We'll also talk to KT McFarland, Joseph Tacopina, Scott LoBaido, and Stephen A. Smith. How did the Giants do with their 2 picks in the first round last night? How did the Jets do with their 3 picks in the first round last night? And what do the Knicks have in store with a Game 4 in Atlanta coming up tomorrow? All that still to come on the Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the morning, baby.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
How long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, so we were in Vietnam for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks, and their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships. I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them. We'll take them out too when we see them. But their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, all of their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Maybe they loaded up a little bit during the 2-week hiatus, but we'll knock that out in about 1 day if they did. We've done an amazing job. Their leaders are gone. Their leaders are all gone.
President Trump says, don't rush me. Leave me alone. Like he said, Vietnam, 18 years, World War II, 5 years, 6 years, the Korean War, Iraq, Afghanistan, forever. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I got one more I want to play before I get to the great KT McFarland. He also discussed yesterday the possibility, if not probability, of a nuclear holocaust with those no-good bastards in Europe. They've all turned their backs on us, all of them. We'll get them in the end. This is President Trump talking about that possibility, Lewis. Cut number 12.
I think that there's nothing worse than a nuclear weapon that takes out one of your cities or 2 of your cities or 3. I think there's nothing worse than a nuclear weapon that's going to destroy the Middle East, including Israel. I think there's nothing worse than Europe being under attack by people that have missiles now that reach Europe. As you know, they don't reach us, but they reach Europe. But they will reach us at some time, probably the not too distant future, unless we stop them now.
I think there would be nothing worse than having nuclear holocaust in Europe, London, Paris, various places in Germany, all targeted. No, what I say is you can't let them have. I don't think it will happen, by the way. I really think we actually, it turns out that we are drill, baby, drill. And it turns out we're producing a lot of oil, and they're buying the oil. They're going to Alaska. They're going to Texas, Louisiana. And our guys have done a fantastic job. We're putting out right now more oil and gas than we ever have in the history of our country. And one other thing, there are more people employed today in the United States than ever in the history of our country.
There he is, President Trump, yesterday. So we're going to talk to Blaire White and Adam Weiss after KT. And then, like I said, Joe Tacopina, Scott LoBaido, the brilliant sports voice of Stephen A. Smith. But I want to read this to KT. KT, of course, has worked for 4 presidents over her legendary career, most recently President Trump. She's on Fox News multiple times a week, and she is an amazing guest with us every Friday. So I don't name names often. Sometimes I do, but this time I'm not going to, KT. But somebody who I respect a lot sent me this text from the Pentagon. This person was actually in the Pentagon when I received this text a couple of days ago. Now, you know that I was behind this war 100% and still am. Anybody who says this war is not a necessity doesn't know what they're talking about, okay? It is a necessity. And we didn't start it. For you folks that are complaining, I thought Trump was America first. He is. Iran started this war 47 years ago. And 6 or 7 presidents promised they would do something about it, and they didn't do anything. So President Trump decided, I'm going to be the guy to fix it. And it's not easy. It's a big country, 90 million people, and they hate us. So I'm all for it, okay? But I'm also saying with every ceasefire, with every stoppage, Americans care less and less, and Americans are not believing that we are winning. That's just my opinion. So here's a text that I got, KT. Before the war, Iran did not control the Strait of Hormuz. Now it does. Iran oil was sanctioned. Now it's not. Iran was not really building a nuclear weapon, according to the Pentagon Intelligence Agency. Now they will. The U.S. bases in the Gulf were assets. Now the liabilities. And everyone is laughing at us because the truth is the reason why the President of the United States keeps stopping and going is because we are stuck. NBC has reported the last 2 days that Hexteth is not being truthful either, and that Iran has a lot more weaponry than we are telling the fine folks in America. Your thoughts on some of these criticisms?
Well, they're all wrong. They're all dead wrong. Iran wasn't getting close to having a nuclear weapon. Iran has had one goal for 47 years, to have a nuclear weapon. And if you look at what they're doing now and how they're holding the world hostage, when people say, well, they didn't control the Strait of Hormuz, absolutely. They could have turned that thing on and off anytime they wanted. When I was working for President Reagan, they tried to close down the Strait of Hormuz. We shot some ships out of the water, and then they went back to their caves. But so every one of those points is factually incorrect. And the thing that I guess is reinforced to me, the necessity of doing what President Trump did at the 11th hour, is that look at what Iran is willing to do now with the world trade. Countries are going to go into economic tailspins. Why? Because a military dictatorship, which is what it is, a military dictatorship in Iran wants to have nuclear weapons, and they're willing to put the whole world in chaos, economic chaos, in order to do that. And can you imagine what a country like that would do? A gang of dictators will do if they actually had nuclear weapons. They would use them. They would blackmail the world for whatever reason they wanted to blackmail the world, for whatever purpose came into their heads. So the necessity of doing this and doing this now and doing this very surgically, I think is pretty amazing. And when people say, well, President Trump doesn't know what he's doing, come on, guys. I mean, you guys are so far behind, you think you're ahead. He set out to do this on day one of his first term when he realized that he needed peace between Israel and the Gulf Arabs. He crafted the Abraham Accords. What that did was take Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and all those countries which either sat on the sidelines of any Israeli conflict in the region or cheered and worked against Israel. Now they're fighting with Israel against Iran. President Trump, drill, baby, drill, as he just mentioned in the clip that you played. That meant that world oil prices went down because American oil came into the mix. What did that do? Bankrupted Iran. Iran's only source of income is oil exports. And then finally, what's happened in the last several weeks is degrading Iran's military, killing their first, second, and third tier of leaders, destroying their command and control, their army, their navy, their air force, the proxies. All of this put into place the final move in the chessboard. We knew that they would shut down the strait. As I said, they've done it before. But we also knew we had one more move after they shut down the strait, which is a blockade. We could never have done a blockade unless we already had all of those military assets in the region. And now we sit back and wait. I don't think we wait for long, but we wait for them to either come have some pragmatic negotiations or we wait for their economy to completely collapse.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. I would just say that you know my frustration. 17 days ago, President Trump was about to unleash hell on that civilization. And we've got like 2 ceasefires since. And I think you may be mad at me. I don't know. These people tell me, you're crazy. Stop it, Margot Martin. But I have been pretty outspoken that I'm tired of the ceasefires. Do what you say you're going to do. I'm sorry, because I've got people who love him like I do, like you do, love him to death. We don't want anybody else in that seat. I'm not critical of the president where I'm saying he shouldn't be. I mean, he's the best. He's the best in my lifetime, and thank God he's there. I don't want him to ever leave. I'm going to cry the day he leaves. But I'm getting tired of the ceasefires. You know, you keep threatening people, and you don't do it. And eventually, the Iranians, who don't care anyway, they're not intimidated by any of Trump's threats, they're going to start laughing back. So that's my frustration here. Everything you said is fine. That's all great. But these constant, not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 4 days, maybe 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. He doesn't want to be rushed, but he's promising the American people one thing on one day, and then it's another story on the next. That part you have to understand.
Sure. There are 2 ways to kill a snake. You can cut off his head, or you can starve him in a cage. And Iran is now in a cage. The cage is the blockade. So let me just go through the economic steps, as the Secretary of Treasury has talked about them, the economic steps that now have started to happen. So Iran is losing $500 million a day in revenue. They're not getting their oil revenue because the tankers aren't full of oil. The tankers are not getting past the blockade. They're not getting consumer goods into Iran because any ships on their way to Iran are not getting through the blockade. So the blockade is preventing only ships going to and from Iran, not anybody else's ships, but just to and from Iran. And so Iran may have some revenues that they could, like a reserve that they could use. The problem is, thanks to Donald Trump, the problem for Iran is that all of those assets are frozen in foreign banks, so they cannot access them. So they're getting no revenue. They're getting no consumer goods. The inflation rate is by the day is clicking up. And within about, period of time, not too long a period of time, Iran is not going to have any income to pay the weapon, to pay their military, to do all the things that their government needs to do to function. Added on top of that is the way oil works. Oil wells, they pump the stuff out of the ground, puts it in a pipeline, goes to Carg Island, and then the pipeline puts the oil into empty tankers. The tankers fill up and go on their merry way, usually to China. None of that's happening now because the empty tankers are not getting into Iran. Full tankers, they're not getting past the blockade. So what's happening is that the oil wells are backing up. You can't just flip a switch and turn off the pipeline. You can't just flip a switch and turn off the well without doing enormous damage to the well, probably permanent damage to the well. So within a short period of time, starving the snake, Iran is going to have no income and no prospects because in a post-war Iran, the way they would rebuild their country is the revenue they would get. Sanctions were lifted and they could produce oil again. They won't be able to produce oil if all those oil wells are flooded. I mean, think about a sink. You've got a clogged drain and the faucet keeps going. You can't turn the faucet off. And what havoc does that wreak on your sink and on your kitchen? That's what could happen to Iran, and that's what could happen to Iran. Most experts believe that the storage capacity, excess capacity to absorb all of that extra oil in the pipeline is 1, 2 weeks. Nobody thinks it's 3 months.
Right.
The estimates are that it's a couple of weeks. So when President Trump is saying, well, I've got all the time in the world, what he knows is that the clock is ticking for Iran. President Trump has 6 months before he faces the voters. Iran probably doesn't have 6 weeks, probably doesn't even have 6 days that they can survive without income.
Well, yeah, 6 months before the election, but you don't want some people making up their mind today that I'm not going with a Republican. I mean, it's not, he has 6 months to the election, but he's in danger of losing people because I just got a text, for example, from a guy that served in Iraq, served in Afghanistan, served in Kuwait, dragged people out of a burning building on 9/11. One guy did all that. His name is Thomas Sullivan. He's running for office in Queens. He's a wonderful guy. He said, no more ceasefires. What he wants to see is unconditional surrender. And he loves Trump. So we don't have 6 months. If this thing ends in 6 months, it's going to be too little, too late. He needs to figure out a way to end this way before that and start to fix some of these economic issues. We're going to have our asses handed to us come November. That's the bottom line.
I guess I would disagree because if President Trump pulls this off in 3 months and the U.S. economy will immediately start turning around, he'll be hailed as a great, wise leader and a great fixer that saved America.
I hope so. I want that more than anybody. You know that. But
yeah.
And I love him, but I talk to a lot of people, go to a lot of events and try to help out a lot of Republicans in all these states, and they're very, very nervous. But I did like what I heard from Mike Huckabee yesterday, our ambassador to Israel. And I had the cut, but we can't seem to find it. But he talked about the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, the people of Lebanon and the people of Israel are neighbors. And by the way, I've got 2 friends, they're friends of yours too, some of the most beautiful people, Lebanese. One being Joseph Abboud, who I think is the greatest men's fashion designer ever. The other being our U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., Janine Pirro. These are great Lebanese people. They love Israel. They got no issue with the Jews. The problem is Hezbollah. And Israel is going to do whatever they have to do to wipe those mother effers out. That's it.
Yeah, and the Lebanese government has now agreed with Israel. And, people aren't even paying attention. This is just like a little peace agreement, right? The ceasefire agreement that happened was signed yesterday between Israel and Lebanon in the Oval Office with the president, extending the ceasefire for 3 weeks with the idea that it'll probably become permanent. And you have the leaders of Israel and the leaders of Lebanon saying, we agree that the problem is not between the Jews and the Lebanese. The problem is between the 2 of us and Hezbollah. And Hezbollah was the golden, shining example of Iranian ambitions and Iranian lethality and Iranian evil. And that's what's being wiped out. The fact that they could have this kind of an agreement now with the potential of wiping Hezbollah out is largely because of what Israel has done already, but it's also because Hezbollah is not being funded anymore because Iran doesn't have the money. I always think, follow the money is usually a pretty good plan when you're looking at geopolitical events.
Always the case. Well, that was a unbelievable conversation. You're brilliant. You know things that no one else knows. That's why you're so great on this show every Friday. Really, KT, that was a spectacular job today, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
It's an honor. Thank you.
It's my honor. KT McFarland, boy, she is terrific. Here every Friday. And you'll see her all week long on Fox News, and she knows her stuff. She's been in those rooms, those strategy rooms with 4 different presidents, 2 that I think we all agree are pretty good, right? Ronald Reagan and President Trump, not bad. So KT McFarland is with us every Friday. We'll take a break. A lot more to do. Again, Scott LoBaido, usually here Wednesday, but the relentless patriot, the brilliant artist, the troublemaker, I love him. He'll be here today in the 9 o'clock hour. Defense attorney, my dear friend of 48 years. Mr. Army these days, too. He knows a lot about this war as well. Joseph Tacopina, the voice and the face of sports, I believe. He's the guy now in this country, ESPN superstar, and still considering a 2028 presidential run. Stephen A. Smith. Everybody loves Steve. And we'll also talk to Blaire White, who I believe is the biggest conservative transgender in the country today. Promises to be a fascinating conversation with Blaire White and Adam Weiss. All that just today. You're not going anywhere, folks. I'm coming right back.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Recently, I had my passport. I had to get it renewed. I sent it back. Comes back gender marker M. Screws everything up. So there's a form in there. If they made a mistake, you can correct it. So I fill out all the proper forms. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not calling the president. I got his personal cell number. I'm not calling anybody. I'm going to see if I can fix this myself, because it's not just about me. It's about all people in this situation, So I even sent a hard copy of my birth certificate, Caitlyn Marie Jenner, gender, sex, female. I did everything. And they sent it back M. They didn't change it at all.
I'm going to quote trans advocate Janetta Johnson, who said this in 2015. Jenner is a rich white. She can pay for everything she needs, but I think she now needs to put some of that money back into the transgender community, as she has taken a lot. All these years, we have been abused and battered, yet she has used none of her power to help the community and bring about change. And so, Caitlyn Jenner, girl, cry me a river. Let me play my little violin for you. Transgender, changing the marker on the passports is a executive order that he signed on day one. On day one. So if you think that he didn't know what he was doing, if you think he wasn't fulfilling a campaign promise, because as you say, he absolutely exploited this issue in order to get people to the polls. But I think there's a special place in hell for people who only care about themselves and don't care about the effect on others. If she's saying that this is a safety issue, traveling internationally with the wrong marker on her passport, imagine what the safety issue is for people who are not celebrities, who don't have access to the White House, and who don't have money.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell, all right, for you, Ana Navarro, and the rest of those repulsive hags that sit on Channel 7 on The View every day, whether it's Whoopi Goldberg or Joy Behar or Sonny Hostin. There is a special place in hell for all of you, not for my friend Caitlyn Jenner. So we're going to talk to Stephen A. Smith coming up about what the Jets and Giants did last night, and he's got his own take on what President Trump is doing in Iran. We're going to talk to Joe Tacopina, the great defense attorney, my friend Scott LoBaido. I do want to send a shout-out to my buddy Abraham Hamra. He's actually representing my other dear friend, Johnny Daniels. Johnny lives in Israel, but, of course, he was born in England, and he's working on his immigration status. And AB is a great immigration attorney, and I'm going to try to help these guys out with the State Department here in the United States. But regardless, AB is a terrific guy, and he just said, he confirmed, hey, it is true what KT just said. The Lebanese people and the Israeli people, they like each other. There are no issues. The issue is the proxy group funded by Iran, which is called Hezbollah. But getting back to Caitlyn Jenner, I've got probably, next to Caitlyn, maybe even including Caitlyn, the most popular conservative transgender in my studios right now. Her name is Blaire White. And the first thing I'm going to say is, Blaire, when you walked in, there is zero, and I mean zero evidence you were ever a boy. Zero.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know what to say to that, but thank you.
How many years ago did you do this transition?
It was about a decade. I was 20.
So you're 30 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Early 30s.
And how old were you when you came to the realization that you're the wrong sex in the wrong body?
Well, I think I'm in the right body. I don't think God necessarily makes mistakes. I just think that I have my own, autonomy. I always knew I was different at a young age, but I'm also very against children transitioning. That's something I've gotten a lot of blowback for in my career. And so I'm thankful that I was, a legal adult and had a sound mind to make those decisions.
So you made that decision?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, your parents didn't do that?
Yeah, and even a decade ago when I started, the trans kid thing was not really a topic. Like, it's a new thing. It's, in my opinion, very wrong. And I think it's caused a lot of backlash also against trans people.
Wrong. I can't believe, Blaire, no disrespect to members of your community, wrong is an understatement. I can't believe we're actually having this discussion. That moms and dads, can't be the ones, or the kid for that matter, to make up their own mind. That's cities and states and the federal government. They make these decisions, and I don't care if it's transgender surgery, if it's vaccines. I think parental choice and freedoms. And I was just at a rally last night for a guy that I'm endorsing over Cory Booker in New Jersey. His name is Alex Adan. He's all about these freedoms. I can't believe we're even having these discussions. It's crazy.
Yeah, same. And, I'm born and raised in California. I lived there my whole life. It's known as a quote unquote,
It's a terrible place.
It's known as a sanctuary state legally under Gavin Newsom for trans kids and immigrants. They're sanctuary for everybody. And so even if one parent disagrees with a child transitioning, the other parent can legally do it to the child. And but what's funny is you can't even go into a tanning bed until you're 18 in California. But you can get a sex change as a child. It's very demented.
It is demented. Yeah. How many sexes are there? How many genders are there? How many genders are there?
There's 2.
There's 2?
Yeah.
You sure? Because a lot of members of your community and a lot of members of the press out there, especially in that horrible place that you live, which is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love parts of California. Yeah. They tell me there's like 7 or 8. I don't know. Chuck Todd laughed at me one time when I said there was 2. So there's 2.
Yeah, that was news to male and female. That was news to me too. It all happened very, very quick. The politicization of the topic and the changing of the goalpost of what it means to be trans, what it means to be a man or a woman. Yeah. And I was never on board with it. I was told I had to be on board with it, which was news to me. I just made a personal choice for my own life. And then I found out it came with all these political talking points you had to be on board with, all these things you had to believe, when really I just believe in personal freedom. And I've always leaned, conservative. I come from, my mother's side of the family is liberal. My dad is conservative. And I naturally gravitated that way, and that's always how I've been.
That's a real mixed marriage right there. Adam, when did you transition exactly? You put Adam's mic on, please. Look ahead.
Is it on?
Yeah.
So what's crazy about this, the mind control they put over people is almost the same as COVID, right? You had to say a certain narrative from the media, from the government. Otherwise, they went after you. So it's a strong personality like Blaire that is able to push back and say no. My principles, what's right is what's right, and what's wrong is what's wrong. And we got to give Blaire credit for that because culture moved that way so strong. And she said, she gave him the big middle finger.
Yeah.
And that's...
Well, you heard Ana Navarro there going after President Trump pretty hard. And look, I know the president very well. We're friends. I'm proud to say that. I love the guy. And all of these criticism that come from the left, how he hates gays and he hates transgenders and he hates blacks. He basically hates everybody, unless you make money and you're Jewish, which is ridiculous. But I'm going to ask you, being that you're in that community, how do you feel about the president of the United States?
I haven't seen any hate out of the president towards gay people, trans people. When I look at the legislation that's been enacted, I still find it way more sensible than anything on the left. You know what I mean? Trans women and women's sports, that's another issue. What
do you think about that?
I also think that that's wrong. I think that it's unfair. Yeah, I do.
What are you crazy? Are you trying to get yourself killed? You're actually a sane person. What's the matter with you?
I don't know. I believe in fairness. I believe, I'm not a huge sports fan in general. I'm not a women's sports fan.
Right.
But also at the same time, you should be able to recognize right from wrong. You know what I mean? So these are the topics that I've gotten a lot of, hate from my own community. I'm definitely not well loved in the community necessarily, although a lot of them tend to, behind closed doors say they agree with me. Of course they do,
right. But you can go to bed at night knowing you're on the right side of the issues.
And that's what I care about.
Right.
The Trump administration is so inclusive. The New York Times, maybe 3-4 months ago, did a big profile. It was called Trump's Big Gay Government. If they went about and did that, think about it. There must be a lot of gays throughout his government.
Well, listen, Rick Grinnell is a guy that's worked alongside the president for many years. My dear friend, my favorite homosexual of all. He's in Brussels right now, Bill White. He's been around the president for a long time.
Great guy.
They're all great guys, and the president has no issue. They got big jobs in his administration. It's complete nonsense. So you are not for men competing in women's sports. You readily admit there are only 2 sexes. What else out there that is sane that I believe in, that you believe in, that even ostracizes you even more inside your own community?
Well, probably a lot, like just in general, like I said, I've always leaned right. I'm a capitalist. That's something you're also not allowed to be anymore.
Not in this city.
No, especially under you guys' new mayor, which I'm sorry for that one.
Right. Yeah. Take it easy. You got Karen Bass. Not exactly great either, but I know.
Right. You know, we lived through all the COVID years, being anti-vaccine, anti-lockdown, all of that stuff. Even though now it's slowly, even like a lot of Democrats are able to kind of be like, okay, maybe we went a little far during those years. I've always just stood up for limited government not telling you what to do with your body. Of course, I believe in bodily autonomy because I utilize bodily autonomy. And so that also includes if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do
So, well, you don't have any remorse from doing this. I mean, you're happy you did it. Okay.
No, when I look at the people these days, there are a lot of people detransitioning and who have like regret.
Yeah.
And those tend to be the ones who did it very, very young as children. Because obviously when you make a choice like that, it's not really a choice you're making. Right.
When we were at CPAC recently, the floods of people. Detransition is going back to what they originally were running up to Blaire and thanking her.
They were.
For what she
stands
for.
Make you feel good, right? It's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, that's another, not a lot of people stand up for those individuals. And so I just like to provide on my podcast and on my YouTube channel just a full 360 perspective on the issue. Whereas if you're just hearing from shows like The View, you're going to get just one side.
Yeah, I forget. I had a girl in here not long ago. God, she was in here twice. She's great. Young black lady. Was a big Jewish star. Come on. She's a very famous transgender, too. Also, big conservative voice and short hair. Blonde, actually.
Black conservative?
Yes.
And trans?
Trans. Been in the studio twice. Oh. What is her name? Bellamy. That's right. Bellamy Bellucci, something like that. You know who she is?
I don't.
Look her up. She's exactly like you.
Okay.
Same exact.
We should probably be friends then.
Yeah. She's a New Yorker, and you should be friends because she says the same thing that you say. So, Adam, later on tonight, I'm supposed to be honored again. I do it a lot. I love Krisha Lenzo. She's terrific. And all the folks at the Metropolitan Club on the Upper East Side, they've got their annual gala tonight. Emily Austin will be there. Randy Fine. I love him down in Florida. Rudy Giuliani. Some big names. And they're going to honor your friend Blaire White later on
Blaire
tonight.
White's coming. We also have Nick Shirley, that great investigative reporter, came in. We're going to give him an investigative journalist award. That kid is amazing. What he's uncovering.
He blew the doors off Minnesota. He was the guy.
He made Tampon Tim retire. I think just him alone.
He really did. No.
If we thought Trump could do it with his verbal jab, but Nick did it alone with his investigation.
That's great.
And then tomorrow we're going to the alternative White House Correspondents' Dinner with some events. And for the first time in 10 years, Trump is showing up.
Yes.
He used to show up when he was a celebrity.
Right, but not as president. 0 for 5.
So the cool kid is showing up to the Nerd Prom. Let's see how they treat him.
Well, there are no comedians this year.
No.
But they have some mentalists, I guess. That's going to be the entertainment. What is this now? It's called an alternative?
We're doing an alternative dinner. A couple of these White House correspondents, the White House Correspondents Association, a lot of people can be in there, but they refused to give a guy by the name of John Fredericks a table. He actually paid. They gave him the money back, and they said, we'll give you one ticket. He says, I can't go. I need my wife to go. They wouldn't give him a second ticket. And he's a White House correspondent reporter. They don't want to let the alternative media in. They're still, they want their little cabal, I guess, to control it. So we created another little dinner at the Press Association. And we're going to celebrate in D.C.
Oh, so
we're going to celebrate there.
Oh, cool. How many people you expect to go to that?
A couple hundred.
Oh, that's great.
It's the first one, so we'll see how it goes. But let's see how they treat Trump. That's the real question.
I think they'll be fine.
Will they stand up? Will they protest? Will they cry?
Oh, yeah, you'll have some of that.
What's Kalshi saying? Will they cry, the press?
Probably all of that.
Yeah.
All of that. Where can people find your podcast and your channel and all that cool stuff?
I'm on YouTube, X, Instagram, all the socials, Spotify, and you can just Google me and find me.
And then you have a show once a week. You do a couple of shows a week. How often are you on the podcast?
It's kind of just whenever I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And do you deal mostly with the transgender issues, or is it a pretty comprehensive
That's a big
show?
topic. I'm definitely obviously known for that. But I cover just politics in general, social issues. I just did a video about the literary crisis in America, how no one can read anymore, which is really scary. 45 million adults in America are functionally illiterate.
Jesus. I got 2 on my own show. Now, there are 3 guys. You figure out who the 2 guys I'm talking about. It's great to meet you, and I appreciate all that you do. It takes a lot of courage, Thank you. So thank you for being a voice for us, and you're an important voice, so thank you for doing all that. And be careful, okay? And you got big Adam Weiss here as your bodyguard. Adam's a tough kid. He used to be a professional boxer. Did you know that?
Really?
No.
No.
A little bit when I was young.
I had her, though. You see?
For a second.
Adam, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So you're going to D.C. tomorrow? And then you go back to California on Sunday, right?
To Miami, actually.
Oh, you're going to Miami?
Yeah, we're going to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, look at you. Living the life. God bless you. Have fun.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break. That was Blaire White and Adam Weiss. Blaire's a real hero. Take a short break. We'll talk to Joe Tacopina, Scott LoBaido, and the face and voice of ESPN, the very, very talented Stephen A. Smith. He'll be here to talk about the Jet and Giant draft last night and also his thoughts on what we're doing with President Trump in Iran. All that still to come. The Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning rolls on.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Get it in. McCollum fires. Hawks take the lead.
Offensively, and Dyson Daniels has been the best defender on Brunson.
The Hawks stole one in Game 2. It's down to the wire here in Game 3. 7 seconds left. Brunson with the ball. Brunson makes his move. Brunson on the baseline. Hawks got to track it down. Dug it in by Kuminga, and it's over. The Hawks hold on. Atlanta takes a 2-1 lead in the series.
The reality of it is, and I told them this, it's a 7-game series for a reason. You know, stuff's going to happen. There are plenty of teams have been down 1-2. You know, should I even think Oklahoma City was down 1-2 last year, and they end up winning it. So I'm not saying we're going to win it or anything like that, but the reality of it is it's 7 games, and you take one game at a time. Each game is its own entity, and that's what I told the group. Now, this should sting because we gave ourselves a chance knowing that we didn't play our best basketball. So it should sting. But we need to feel it and get ready to be locked in for the next game, which we will be.
Whatever. That was Iron Eagle, my dear friend Iron Eagle, on the call. He was great last night. You can't lose with Eagle and Breen. They're both amazing. As the Knickerbockers suffered their second consecutive 1-point loss to the Hawks, and then you heard from Knicks coach Mike Brown. And as I said this morning, amidst all the Trump-Iran talk and talking to Blaire White, a very courageous conservative transgender in studio not long ago, and Randy Sutton, the amazing cop, the wounded blue. As I said early this morning, the happiest guy in America right now has to be Tom Thibodeau. I'm sorry. He's got to be grinning ear to ear. That son of a gun had the Knickerbockers 2 games away from the NBA Finals. They got better every year. He won more and more games every year. And whatever the issue was with Leon Rose, I just don't care. So they fire him. They bring in Mike Brown. And now the Knicks, I don't think they'll lose this series, but they're losing now. So the best sports personality, I believe, in the world. I really believe that. Stephen A. Smith has now distinguished himself as that, but he's so much more than that. He does this amazing show every week, and, you know, he discusses a lot of stuff. He had some great points on President Trump and Iran, for example. I agree with a lot of it 2 nights ago. And he toyed with the idea of running for president not that long ago. Just a really smart guy, incredibly entertaining, and he's my friend, Stephen A. Smith. Steve, good Friday morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm great, and it's great to talk to you. I think you'd agree with me that right now, Tom Thibodeau, I'm not saying he's rooting for the Knicks to lose, but you know how people are. They're going to be honest.
He's looking pretty good right now. He's looking pretty good right now. There's no way around it. He's looking pretty damn good right now. You know, it's really not a good thing for the New York Knicks right now. I'm very, very disgusted with what I saw last night, them losing the game. Brunson, back-to-back bad plays on offense to end the game. Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, this is a guy that can dominate the Atlanta Hawks, and somehow, some way, he's not as active of a part of an offense as he needs to be. We got a guy in Mikal Bridges who can play, who's worth $150 million that they're paying for him in today's NBA economy, but was never worth 6 first-round picks, 4 unprotected, in order to get his services, particularly when you consider the fact that those assets that you surrendered to get him, who's Jalen Brunson's boy, they won national championships at Villanova. That's why they went through all of that to get him. You know, it compromises their ability to get somebody like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who would have already been a Knick from last summer, had it not been for the Knicks being bereft of those assets. So it's not a good day. I mean, they could still win this series, but there has been a drop-off. Regardless of what statistics say, regardless of what their records say, This is not the same team that had the grit and the grind and the toughness that they had under Tom Thibodeau. That is just a fact.
Couldn't agree more.
That's it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is what it is, and we got to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, Hart is still valuable out there, does a good job, McBride, but these guys, they're not the same. And forget about the offense for a second. I mean, are you telling me that there's nobody on the Knicks that can stop C.J. McCollum? Really, Steve?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. CJ's a savvy veteran. He's been around for a long time. He can really shoot the basketball. He can really play. He's poised under pressure, doesn't get nervous, can make big-time shots. We keep forgetting he was the top 2 option for years in Portland with Damian Lillard. And not only that, they got a bunch of young thoroughbreds around him that can play but don't know any better. So they rely on him for poise. They rely on him for leadership. And they rely on him for clutch plays, whether it's scoring or setting somebody else to score. He knows what he's doing. And the New York Knicks are not stout defensively across the board because even though OG can defend, even though Josh Hart can defend, and Mikal Bridges can defend, sometimes you can exploit Karl Anthony Towns on a perimeter, and you can exploit Jalen Brunson everywhere. And so the combination of all of those things, along with the absence of faith that Mike Brown has shown in his depth, definitely plays a role, which is a problem because that's one of the biggest reasons you decided to shift from Thibodeau to Mike Brown. Because of those things, Thibodeau's Achilles heel is his stubbornness, and I think the line of the year last year came from Kenny the Jet Smith, formerly of TNT, now of ESPN with the Inside the NBA team. Kenny Smith had a line that I don't want you to ever forget, Sid. And that line was this about Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau would have a problem playing 9 guys in a baseball game. That's what he said.
That is great.
And it was the line of the year because it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That was Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
He was stubborn in Chicago. He was stubborn in Minnesota. He swore he had learned the error of his ways, then started winning a little bit and got stubborn in New York. And it's a damn shame that he's not the head coach of this team because if he just knew how to relax just a little bit and just laid off and didn't alienate players the way that he can or an organization strictly because of his stubbornness, because he's so committed to the game of basketball. It's all he cares about. It's all he thinks about. It's all he does. But you got to lighten up. And because he didn't, he alienated the support of his players. And as a result, they wanted somebody different than him. Well, now they got it. And look at what's happening.
One more on the Knicks, and this is one of the things I don't miss, Steve, about doing sports talk radio every day, because I'd be spending 2 hours on the Fan today talking about how tomorrow's a must-win. Knicks can't fall down 3-1. Or can they? Can they come back and win 3 straight? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know if tomorrow's a must-win or not, but as a Knicks fan, I'd rather be 2-2. It is.
No. Hey, you can't go down 3-1. Can't go down 3-1. This New York Knicks team is not built to come back from a 3-1 deficit. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it's incredibly, incredibly daunting. The New York Knicks are not versatile enough to make you believe that they could figure out a multitude of ways to come away with 3 straight victories after being down 3-1 to a young Atlanta Hawks squad.
Right,
they don't win game 4. I don't believe they're advancing to the second round.
Wow, which would be a huge, colossal failure. Give me your impressions quickly, because I don't want to get to the political news. What are your impressions of the local football teams? The Giant fans, I saw a lot of people on Instagram yelling and screaming. They wanted sexy players. They wanted the running back Love out of Notre Dame, or the wide receiver Tyson out of Arizona State, or even that safety out of Ohio State. They didn't get either one, but Harbaugh feels like up the middle with a very good linebacker on and off the ball and a guard to protect Jackson Dart that the Giants did very well. The Jets, they did add some talent, skilled players on offense with the tight end out of Oregon and the wide receiver out of Indiana. What were your impressions of the local teams, Trev?
I thought both teams did well. I just don't give a damn because it's not the season. I'm sick and tired of us winning in the month of April and May and then stinking up the joint from September through December. I could care less.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on them. I mean, again, give them credit where credit is due. They did what they needed to do to win the draft. Props to them. But you need more than that. And unfortunately, these organizations, both organizations, have shown us that they're bereft of making the right. They just struggle to make the right decisions time and time and time again. I'm not enamored with what I'm seeing, and so we got to wait and see.
Yeah.
But they did make the right picks, especially with the New York Jets. I'm one of those guys who firmly believes do what got you there. Meaning that if you're a head coach, what got you the head coaching job? If you're Aaron Glenn, it was because you were a defensive wizard. Okay, fine. Go out there and make sure that the Jets are elite defensively. That's how I am. If that's what got you the job, make sure that once you get the head coaching job, you don't forget what got you the job. So I'm good with that. So if you want to shore up your defense and show everybody that you're going to have a big-time defense and you bring in the personnel to do that, especially after losing Quentin Williams and those guys last year and tanking the second half of the season, fine. Just go ahead and do it. But I'll be happy when I see them win games when they count.
All right, fair enough. One more on sports. And I know that you talked about it, and I enjoyed your conversation because you're an entertaining guy, but it's everywhere. And I got to tell you, I don't care. I don't care who Diana Rossini is sleeping with, even if he is the coach of the Patriots, whether he's married or not. Put that crap with our buddy Kevin Frazier on Entertainment Tonight. Why this is turning into a major sports story. Every other story on my Instagram is Rossini and Vrabel. I couldn't care less.
I feel bad. I know Diana Rossini a little bit. We worked together at ESPN for 10 years. She's a good person. She's a damn good reporter. I feel very, very bad for her, but it's undeniable that she put herself in a compromising situation. I'm not here to cast any aspersions on her, to judge her or anything like that. You know, and what I will say to people is this, and I don't get into people's bedroom and stuff like that because what we don't talk about enough in this country is that everybody's marriage is different. You got a lot of people in this country that are married in name only. You know, marriage is not what you think it is when it comes to their specific relationship. So you don't know what the hell is going on in somebody's relationship. I mean, I've seen it all, Sid, as I'm sure you've had. I've seen people that have been married. They got open relationships, open marriages. They swinging. They doing all types of stuff that, you know, I mean, you just never know. So you don't get caught up in all of that.
Yeah.
Here's what I would tell you where it becomes, this is the one point, and I said this on my radio show, on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM, every day from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I said, listen, here's what we have to understand. Mike Vrabel's got some answering to do to his family, his wife.
Oh, the money shot was coming, literally. He's right. Mike Vrabel, the person he has to answer to first is his wife, and he's actually admitted those have been difficult conversations. Let's get right back to Steve. You're making the point, and you're right, that Vrabel, he's got to start with his wife. Oh, he's not there yet. Okay. I thought he was. There he is. Let's get Steve back on the phone. He was saying Vrabel has to start with his wife, right?
His wife. Okay.
Right.
Actually starts and ends with his wife and his family. He doesn't owe us an explanation for a damn thing. Here's where the problem comes in with Diana Rossini. You are a reporter covering the team and the sport. If you were a reporter covering the NFL, but you were seen with somebody with hockey or somebody on the NBA or whatever, it's none of our business. But the fact of the matter is you cover the NFL, and there's numerous stories that you were reporting on that involved him and the Patriots. So because of that, now the conflict of interest comes into play. Okay, did you report? Were you objective in your reporting? Were you just reporting what was fed to you? How was it fed to you? Is it pillow talk? What was it? You know, did you serve his agenda? Or did you serve the agenda and the objective of the Athletic and your readers? That's the stuff that made it become such a public spectacle that the industry had to touch and couldn't avoid, because that is something that you simply don't do. And that's where the problem lies. Yeah. She's married, he's married, whatever. That's their business. That's their family business. We don't know the specifics. She denied it initially, so did he. And then all of a sudden he has this useless press conference where he's talking but saying absolutely nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, threw her under the bus. because he had no business speaking about it at all publicly, but he did anyway. And so that's really, really unfortunate that he did something like that, certainly to cover himself. That didn't work. But in the end, what it comes down to is that when you're in our business, you don't put yourself in those compromising situations, especially when you're the females, because the females are the ones holding you accountable. You have to remember, a lot of times, and I want to say this on your show, and I said this publicly because I think people need to hear this. So many times when stuff like this comes out, particularly about women covering professional sports, a lot of people think it's the men going off. That's not true. It's the women in the industry that are going off about women who put themselves in that position. Because any time something like that happens, women, most of whom would never think to do such a thing, look at themselves as having their credibility questioned. Oh, how did you get to where you were?
Yes.
Did you, what mechanism did you use?
Who'd you sleep with? Right. Who'd you sleep with? Right.
So women are, the women of high integrity throughout the years that have been instituted, the wonderful women like the Christine Brennans of the world, of the USA Today's, the Sarah Jenkins of the Washington Post, just Pam Oliver at Fox. You see
Hannah Storm at your network. She's
Hannah
terrific.
Storm,
yep.
ESPN, and Robin Roberts, and so many others that are institutions. They're just phenomenal and great and stuff like that, who would never find themselves in their position. You don't ever, ever, ever want to put yourself in that kind of position as a woman in this business, because when that happens, everybody raises an eyebrow, and women guard against that with everything they have, the credibility of what they do. So when one comes along and finds themselves in that kind of compromising position, these women are highly sensitive to it, as well as they should be. A lot of times they're thinking it's the men that are complaining about stuff like that. No, it's not. It's the women that hold down that standard, and they're right to do so. They're not wrong.
That may be the best point of all. You just made a great argument why it does matter. So now you've completely convinced me. I was like, I just don't care. But you made a great argument based upon the profession. And you're right. Women, unfortunately, are viewed by a lot of guys like, how did she get there? And this doesn't help. Right. But, it reminded me when you talked about, well, did she, change the story? Is integrity comes into play? And it reminded me of these Senate confirmation hearings when they sit down and they go, are you going to lie for Trump? Are you going to tell the truth? Are you going to make sure that story makes Trump look good? Kind of like you're talking about with Rossini and Vrabel. But that's the first thing I thought of was, wow, that's like a Senate confirmation hearing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to some degree, it has to be when it comes to her, not Vrabel. And then you have people calling up saying it's a double standard. I said, no, sir, it's not a double standard. It's not a double standard at all, because we're not talking about gender. We're talking about the institution. If you are a guy and you are covering the NBA, the WNBA, and then you happen to be, it's revealed that you have some kind of relationship with a female coach in the WNBA that you're covering, the same applies.
Yep.
The same applies.
Yeah, sure. Even even the WNBA came under fire last week, the Dallas Wings, because they've got two girls who were together at the University of Connecticut. They drafted Aziz Fudd.
Well, now, that's totally different, because see, that here's the thing. That was an egregious story that I spoke out against that too. That's involving Paige Beckers and Ozzie Fudd, who were teammates at UConn. Paige Beckers went to the pros before she went to the pros. They confirmed that they have a relationship with one another. So what? They're two players. You understand? One is not an authoritative figure or anything like that. Whatever their relationship is.
Yeah, but you don't want, these are your two best players on the team. If they get into a fight the night before and one of these girls can't perform.
You can't go by that, because listen. I've seen situations. Listen, I've been covering sports for years. I know of a situation where a player got traded because the coach was screwing around with the cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
And then the player ended up messing with her.
Right.
I mean, I've covered stories like this. You understand what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is, That's different. Two young consenting adults having a relationship with one another is not a crime. The reason why that story was so bad is because it implied that the Dallas Wings went out and got Ozzie Fudd because of the relationship with Paige Beckers, as opposed to Ozzie Fudd being one of the elite players in college basketball. This young lady is a sensational basketball player who proved it time in and time out on the basketball court that she was worthy of her stature as a top player. So to imply that the only reason that the Dallas Wings brought her on board as the number one overall pick is because she's so tight with Paige Beckers is an insult to her credentials and what she has established and she has accomplished.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
True.
You understand? Because look at just strictly on her game, there's nobody that can look at her and say, well, she wasn't worthy of the number one overall.
Oh, she's great. She's great.
Because that sister can play.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Yeah, no, she's great. And there'll be a good basketball team this year, the Dallas Wings. I want to move on over. I did catch your monologue of your show a couple nights ago when you talked specifically about President Trump and Iran. And I don't know if you're going, at this point, Steve, I think you've come to find that even though I'm a MAGA guy and I love Trump and I have a hard time criticizing him, that doesn't mean I don't. And I think you've come to realize now that you and I happen to agree a lot more than maybe you would have thought before you and I started this really great relationship and this great friendship. And I agreed with just about everything you said just a couple of nights ago on your show. But for the audience that did not hear it, let them know how you feel about this whole conflict in Iran.
Well, listen, I think that, first of all, I think most of us as American citizens agree more than we disagree. I just think that in the binary system that we're living in, where we have two sides that have gone to the extreme, that kind of divide and polarization has been stirred and instigated by politicians on Capitol Hill, which is why they get on my damn nerves, which is why I don't like them. Yeah. You understand? I'm here in Washington, D.C., because I'm going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow night.
Nice.
And I'm here to tell you something right now. They asked me a question about it. Folks will get their feelings hurt because I'm sick and tired of what they're doing to this country. We're not that divided. We're reasonable people as American citizens if we just sit down and talk with one another. Having said that, here's my issue with President Trump, with the Iran situation. When you see folks in MAGA turning against him, I don't blame them. You advertised and marketed yourself as being America first. That is not how you have come across. You have been doing a bit too many things that have deviated from America being the priority.
But I can make the argument, Steve, in this one case with Iran. You're right. He's done some things ago. But I can make the argument that America first. Iran started this 47 years ago. We did nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't have a problem with him attacking Iran. What I'm saying is it's inconsistent with what you said. You said you obliterated them last June.
Not true.
And then suddenly you felt the need to attack them again. Well, why? You were either wrong then or you're wrong now. Which one is it? Because it's not consistent. Okay. And then secondly, where's the plan? How do we exit it? Because you said no new wars, no forever wars. Well, how is this ending? Are we sure it's going to end? It can't be, believe me. No, we're not believing you. Where are the facts? What are you going to show us? People have a right to know that, because as American citizens, what I've implored upon you and a lot of people on the right a lot of times, it ain't just about believing you. Sometimes you're scaring the living hell out of people, meaning him, because of the tactic that he's willing to utilize. I understand it's totally plausible that you might be talking, blustering, and all of this other stuff just to scare the living hell out of people, because that's your negotiation tactic. But we don't know that for sure. We just don't. And so because of that, you want to see a plan of action. You want to see coordination. You want to make sure that he's listening to the right people. You want to make sure that he's doing what's in the best interest of the American citizen. And far more often than not, these days, more so his second term than even his first term, we've gotten the impression that that's not the case. And so that was the thing for me. I'm like, go ahead and attack Iran, because obviously with what they've been doing over the last 47 years or so is unacceptable. They've killed American citizens. They've been a top sponsor for terrorism around the world. They tried to kill him. They certainly have shown a propensity and a willingness to do whatever harm to America that they can. Damn it, get their asses. I got it. But in the same breath, you also got to be consistent. If you say this is what the issue is, don't change it up. And in the meantime, don't ignore affordability issues in this country. Don't avoid safety in the streets. Don't avoid these things that are going on in America that need your attention as well.
Well, the safety in the streets, I mean, look, the guy has sent his people to a bunch of cities, including where you're going to be tomorrow night. That's a much safer city because of Trump.
Well, listen, you can say that, and I'm not even going to disagree with that. But in the same breath, here's what I will caution you about. Because a lot of times, so many people are so enthralled with him that they're forgetting the importance of precedents. When you look at the Supreme Court and some of the decisions that they have made and what they're going to make in the future, Sid, take this into consideration. How many times is precedent deferred to when a decision is being made? A lot of times people are so gung-ho about Trump, they're like, yeah, go ahead. Not remembering he's going in 2028. 22nd Amendment ain't getting circumvented. Somebody else is going to be in there. Yep. They don't have his cachet. They don't have his bravado. They don't have his swag. They don't have his ability to deliver and cultivate this communication and this relationship with his people. They don't have those things going on. So when you allow him to get away with just anything, okay, and you say, hell with the law on the books, hell with all of this nonsense, we need this done now, well, then the next president is going to have an excuse. And what if that's a Democrat that is completely against everything that Sid Rosenberg and some of the people that vibe with you believe in? What are you going to feel like then? You got to be careful about all that. That's what makes our country great, that we have a standard, that we live on a rule of law that makes sure that's applicable to everybody, so nobody gets to use the excuse of circumventing it, whether it's Obama, whether it's W. Bush, whether it was Clinton, whether it's Biden, whether it's somebody in the future. You want to guard the interest of the country, not the interest of the individual you so happen to like that happens to be in office at this particular moment in time. You have to be careful about that.
And this is why you're a major superstar. We started talking about the Knicks and the Hawks. We talked about the NFL draft. We talked about Rossini and Vrabel. And you closed out with the very sensible, I mean this, very common sense approach to the presidency and how this country can heal. That's why, Stephen A., I love you. That's why you're a superstar. And that's why I know it's going to cost you about $50 million, but you still got to run in 28.
I'm not giving up my money. They're not getting me to do that. I will gladly. Listen, for me personally, Sid, I'll tell you this right now. It ain't even about being in office so much for me. I would give anything to be on that debate stage and stand next to these politicians who swear up and down that they've had the interest of the American people and stand in front of my face and say that. Because I would tell you right now, I think I'd eat them alive.
I do
because
too.
I know they have. I know they haven't done that, and that's my whole point. It's like I don't vibe with everything Sid Rosenberg says. Everything you say ain't wrong. Everything Trump does is not wrong. Everything that comes out of Marco Rubio's mouth is not wrong. The same applies to the Democrat. There's some things you're right about. There's some things you may be wrong about. Sit down, be adults. Talk about it and stop trying to position yourself just to turn the American people against one another. I know that I wouldn't be that person. I know that I'd stand up and say, you know what, that's a damn good point. You know what, them borders, like you know, with all the liberals that I know, you're not going to tell me that we did the wrong thing by closing the borders when you open them and you let 12 to 15 million people in the country. You can't tell me that. Now, I don't like the optics with ICE and how that was utilized. Minnesota is one example, L.A., Portland, Chicago, places like that. But there is no denying that closing the borders was necessary. It's just about how you do things. You can't sit up there and complain about the borders being closed when you said nothing when Obama deported 3.1 million people. We ain't getting away with that. We're not going to be hypocrites. But in the same breath, how you handle stuff matters because it assuages the concerns of the American people. It brings a calmness to us that we know things are happening with adults in the room. Don't talk to me about Kushner and Witkoff going over as envoys to us, and those are our most qualified individuals to do it. We got to be able to do better than that. Stuff like that is what I'm talking about here. And if you talk to the American people with that kind of sense, I think it goes a long way.
Stephen, you're beautiful. And enjoy the White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow night. And good luck to our Knicks in Game 4 tomorrow. And let's do this again very, very soon. You really are. You're terrific, Steve. Really, thank you so much. That was great.
Anytime, my man. You take it easy.
You're the best. Stephen A. Smith. He is a great guest and a terrific guy. We become really good friends. That was one you probably didn't see coming, did you? I'm not sure if it's more shocking, Randy Levine, the president of the New York Yankees, or Stephen A. Smith, but both of those guys are terrific guys. We'll take
that debate stage would be scared to see him come up.
Hey, listen, the guy, he's smart. He makes a lot of sense.
They would be terrified to see
He'd kill
Stephen
him.
A.
He'd eat him up. He'd eat him up.
He'd
eat him up.
them.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. We have a lot more smart people still to come. The relentless patriot, the brilliant artist, my man, Scott LoBaido out of Staten Island, and my main man of 48 years, the brilliant defense attorney, and now Mr. Army. I call him Mr. Army, the great Joseph Tacopina. All that still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
9:13 Friday morning. Been a great show. Brian Kilmeade was here. Randy Sutton. Blaire White. Can you even tell, Lou, be completely honest, can you even tell that Blaire White was ever a boy?
I'm incapable of being completely honest, so...
So lie to me.
All right. Phrase it again, because I don't...
Was there any evidence that that person, that lady, Blaire White, the transgender who was in this studio earlier this morning, was ever a boy?
I could see slight...
Really? I didn't see it.
Yes, but maybe I'm just biased because I knew already.
Well, I think so. Maybe that's it.
Probably
you're being honest. Okay.
Yeah, but
this doctor did a good job.
Looks amazing.
I know.
Definitely looks amazing.
KT McFarland was great. Stephen A. Smith. This guy's been my friend for 48 years. He's the best defense attorney in the country. He's also Mr. Army these days, and he's great on this show every Friday. And I think he's a Raiders fan. I'm pretty sure he is. So maybe he's excited. Before I get to that, I did mention last segment that you'd be surprised that Stephen A. Smith and Randy Levine, the president of the Yankees, have become good friends. I did say this earlier. Steve Cohen reached out to me yesterday, which was very nice. He didn't have to. He did. The owner of the New York Mets. And we had a great 15-minute phone call where he said to me, and I quote, I want a relationship here. So I'm going to the Met-Yankee game in Queens on the 15th of May with Bill O'Reilly. And Cohen said, you're sitting with me. You're going to be in my suite, and we're going to start this conversation because he admitted basically that I'm a big voice in New York, if not the biggest. And he wants to have a good relationship. So it was a great phone call. I cannot share the specifics about all the subjects that have bothered me. We discussed all of them, but I will maybe at a later date. So just wanted Joseph to know, because he's a Met fan as well, that at the very least, Steve Cohen and I are on very good terms, Tac. Very good terms.
Yeah, I'm happy, sir. I want to talk to you about this. I really don't. This is such a strain in our relationship. You know, I love you and I care about you, but every time I see the Mets lose, which is every day,
they've won two straight.
I get mad. Yeah,
no, we won two straight.
I know we did.
We're going to the World Series. I said to Steve, I said, "Are you going to be mad when I come to that game and I come to your suite and I'm wearing a Greg Nettles jersey? Is that going to bother you?" So he didn't say.
No, you're not doing that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just don't do that. It's not classy. Don't do that. Come on, you don't do that. I don't want you to do that. Representing us. You can't do that, brother, please.
That's so cute.
And it's crazy. I mean, you know, the Yankees are kowtowing to AOC, right? I mean,
not really.
Girl.
I know what that. Not really. No, that's a stretch.
There and stuff.
That's a stretch.
They must be anti-Semites, I guess.
You're funny. Are you still a Raiders fan?
Of course. You cannot see. I'm not like you.
No. You are exactly like. You're exactly like me, because I remember a very young Joseph Tacopina getting pen marks on my father's Cadillac right after you got bar mitzvahed, who used to come to school wearing a Minnesota Viking Joe Sensor jersey.
Joe Sensor, but I was a tight end freak, and I played tight end for Polly. You know that, and Joe Sensor was my favorite tight end ever. So I love Joe Sensor.
I can't believe I remembered that.
And Tarkington was awesome.
Yeah, there you go. You like the Vikings. You're Raiders fan. So you got to be thrilled that Mendoza's your new quarterback, right?
Finally. I mean, I saw Mark Davis and spoke to Mark at the national championship game, and I said, Mark, and we talked, and Mark knows me for a while. I said, please, just draft Mendoza, right? We're doing that, right? He's like, well, yeah, I'm going to leave it to the GM, but I said, Mark, I said, we're drafting Mendoza, right? I was convinced we were going to draft the punter with the first pick of the draft up until yesterday. So I'm so happy.
Right.
So happy.
No, they did good. But I do want to ask you quickly about, because you know this team better than anybody. You saw Mark Davis at the championship game. Let me remind folks, that was Miami against Indiana, and Joseph has a great relationship with the Hurricanes. Great. The kid the Giants shocked everybody. the guard the Giants took, number 10 overall, first-round pick. They traded Dexter Lawrence to Cincinnati to get this kid Magowie from the Hurricanes.
Mauigoa, yep.
How is he?
Mauigoa. He's amazing. Sid, I think he was the best offensive lineman in college last year. He is he is a rock. He's one of those Samoan beasts, like he's like a tree, but he's also a great guy and a leader. It was a really great pick. The Giants had a hell of a draft, by the way. And I just think that was a great pick. And by the way, I don't even want to say the U is back anymore, because back is not where we are. We're here. But we had 3 guys drafted in the first round. So
it was 3. You're right. It was 3. Yeah, that's a big deal. No, we're back.
Exactly. So
who's the quarterback again this year? We got somebody else good.
Mensa.
Oh, right,
Mensa from. Right. I was at the spring game last Saturday on the sidelines with Mario and the coaches and watching that thing. And this kid, oh my God, this kid looks amazing, bro. He looks amazing.
He came from Duke, right?
Duke, yeah. And he brought his 1,000-yard receiver with him, this little white guy.
Oh, wow.
Who looks like he should be in Glee Club.
Yeah.
But he's amazing too. I mean,
All right, let's go Hurricanes.
So let's see.
All right, so that's all the good news. The bad news is that last I checked, you and I still love and live and work in a city where somebody like Ken Griffin, I know you know him, Joseph, where somebody like Ken Griffin is now a criminal. Only in this city, right?
It's just unreal. I mean, what Mamdani did by going there and doing that little stunt of his, you know what Ken Griffin's done to the city, right? I mean, for the city. He has donated single-handedly to philanthropic causes to the tune of about $600 million.
Jeez.
In New York City, okay? He just purchased a home for what?
283, I think.
283.
38. Yeah.
283 million.
Right.
That's spending money in New York City, okay? Citadel, his company, and its affiliates have paid over $2.3 billion in taxes in the last 5 years. Okay, so without guys like that, the taxing the rich, all that nonsense that he does, we would be hurting so badly. I mean, Citadel now is reconsidering a $6 billion New York City development project because of all this nonsense with Mamdani. So that's really, really great. Isn't that really great that Mamdani is making like a clown of himself?
Yeah, and by the way, not just the money, Joseph, $6 billion, and like you pointed out, people like him and my boss, love him, John Katzmatidis, Blackman, they pay these taxes. His project at 350 Park, you're looking at the very least 6,000 construction workers, 15,000 total employees.
How about that?
Right. Then you got people have to live here. They got to pay for that. They have to go to restaurants. The revenue above and beyond the actual project is all money for New York City. What is this guy doing?
It really threatens our core as a city. Basically what this says, New York City is the greatest city in the world. It's the global financial capital of the world. It's where, if you make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? Frank said that, Sinatra. So here's the crazy part. What this message sends, the one Mamdani is given, is success in New York City is a liability, okay? It's a liability. And hedge funds are leaving. Banks are shrinking in presence. Talent is leaving. And talent follows money, by the way, right? So it's unbelievable when the great cities are in decline, and then you have someone like this. You don't grow a city by punishing the people funding the city, you idiot. Okay, it isn't taxing the rich; it's exporting the rich. Because now we're making sure everyone who has the wherewithal to spend money in this great city has to leave. It's you can't run New York City like a protest movement. It's an economic engine.
I love that.
So disgusting.
I love that. Disgusting. Have you put that anywhere like you cannot run the city like a protest? I love that.
A protest movement. That's what he's running like.
I know.
It's a protest movement. That's like that stunt he did yesterday to one of the city's great institutions, one of the great sort of contributors to the New York City philanthropic scene was ridiculous.
Was terrible.
It's running the city like a protest movement. Exactly
I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that from you. It's not just ridiculous. It's actually disgraceful. Ken Griffin is a terrific guy and a very successful guy, and we should be celebrating people who are successful and not treating them like they're criminals. I do want to get back to the war for a second. You've been great with this. I had KT McFarland on earlier. She's great, too. She worked for Trump. She worked for president. She's on Fox News almost every day. She's on this show every Friday. I think she's great. But she is all in here. So I pointed out some of the things that was provided to me by a friend who happened to be at the Pentagon this week. That person will remain nameless. Talking about how the Strait of Hormuz wasn't an issue before, now it is. How a nuclear weapon really wasn't on its way, now it may be. All the 5 or 6 different things, I read them one by one, and her quote to me was, well, they're all untrue. Every one of those are untrue. I said, well, do you think that maybe the president keeps ceasefire, because, truth be told, he's not exactly sure what to do next, and maybe we're stuck? And she was revolted by that actual suggestion.
Really revolted?
Yeah.
Okay. So, deadlines that keep moving don't pressure your adversary. They empower your adversary. Because how many times has the president said, if this doesn't happen, we're going to obliterate their civilization. We're going to, by this date. Last time it was by Tuesday night, if this isn't done, we're going to rain holy hell on them. We're going to put them back into the Stone Ages where they belong.
That was 17 days ago.
17 days ago.
That's right.
And Iran's sort of like laughing at us a little bit, right? They're making posts like going, oh, is that 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Indian time?
What?
It's like
they did that, really?
Yeah, they did. They posted it in response to that threat because they knew it wasn't going to happen. I mean, if they were really scared, they wouldn't be mocking that threat. And what's happening is every time we keep doing this, every time we keep moving away, it chips away at deterrence because now our red lines look flexible. Like these end-of-the-world deadlines look flexible. And once your adversary believes you won't act decisively, you've already lost ground. So the extension of this ceasefire with Iran is being sold as stability, but it's actually the opposite to me. It's a sign that there's really no clear path forward because when you have leverage, you don't extend, you conclude, you dictate the terms.
Right.
I mean, I remember President Trump saying, there's no negotiation here. This is a complete and total surrender. They will surrender to all of our terms.
Right.
And now we're trying to negotiate with them, and because we haven't done it, we're going to now extend it again for another 3 weeks, and I guarantee you that's going to be extended again.
I agree.
Because what we can't do is keep doing this. We can't keep fighting. We're in a war that has no end in sight. And Sid, I'm telling you, this comes from the real war fighters that I'm talking from, right? We're in a pickle here. We really are. Okay, this is not something where we have the ability to just go in there and obliterate them because we can't. We're in a massive hole financially. Also, don't forget we're out of ammunition. Okay, the war is burning. Listen to this number. They're burning at roughly $1 billion with a B dollars per day.
No.
Okay, Sid, I swear.
That's our cost?
These are the Pentagon numbers. $1 billion a day. In 6 days, we spent over $11.3 billion, and that was only partial accounting. It doesn't include all the pre-war buildup, the troop deployment, the long-term replacement costs. It's just crazy. This isn't a war. This is like a financial freefall with no ceiling.
Oh my God!
And it's scary. And that's we're in this predicament. And I don't care what Katie McFarland says. I respect her and all. But if right now, if we can get this from Iran, if we can get, they don't control the Strait anymore. Their oil is sanctioned, and they will not build nuclear weapons.
They won't enrich uranium, right?
Right. So, and all the U.S. bases in the Gulf become assets again, not liabilities.
Right.
If we got those 3 things, we win.
Not really. See, not even then. I disagree.
No, I know.
What about the
IRGC?
Really. What about the IRGC? What about those psychos who'll still be in charge? They'll just do the same thing in 10 years.
Regime change. There is no regime change there. What are you kidding me?
Well, you got to go and kill all these IRGC guys. You got to take them out. I'm sorry. You got to kill them.
They're embedded in the society there.
I know.
We're never changing it, right?
Yeah.
We're never changing it. And by the way, I thought we weren't supposed to do that, right? I thought that was the new promise because I've watched a lot of clips and footage where everyone in this administration, from the president to the vice president to the Sec of War to Tulsi Gabbard, all these people saying the same thing. We're not fighting other countries' wars anymore. We're not fighting stupid, endless wars where we spend.
Well, see, but this wasn't a stupid war, and they started it 47 years ago. I just don't know if we ever really had a great plan from the beginning.
No, we definitely didn't have a great plan in the beginning. No. Because if you have a great plan in the beginning, you protect your bases and your embassies. First move. Second move, you secure the Strait before you go in, not after you go in.
Right.
And because we didn't secure our bases and embassies, we lost a lot of human life, American lives, and our bases and embassies are gone. They're liabilities now. They're not our stranglehold anymore. And the Strait is now, we're negotiating, and now they're putting landmines down, maybe, or mines under the Strait. I mean, it's just
a mess. Yeah.
It's a mess. It is a mess, and I'm telling you, we have an ammunition problem.
Okay. No, I believe it, and they don't, because they're getting.
They don't.
I don't know, the Russians. I keep reading every day. NBC. Hey, whatever Pete Hegseth said, it's not true. They are fine. They've got plenty of weaponry. They're not running out.
I saw that today. He said they're a pirate ship army. No, they're not.
They're not. Right. Well, good thing you're here to tell the truth. I got to run, but these appearances with you on Friday, I got to be honest, because I bring on a lot of people. I love them, and a lot of them just kind of toe the line. And I know you love Trump. You've represented him twice in legal battles, and you guys are close. But you come every Friday with the real information, and it's important. So I love you. Thank you.
Bad advice too, Sid. So, and that's why I'm here. I don't put this on the president. I mean, he's got people who are supposed to know this and give him the real advice.
Right.
And he's got some bad advice.
Get down to you in there. And you too. I don't know. Give up the law stuff and just become like some type of, army. I don't know.
Listen, service to this country becomes a bubble for me. So
I know.
Whatever I can do, I would do. You know that.
Joe, I love you. Great job. Amazing job, actually. Thank you so much, buddy. Great job.
Okay, brother.
Take care. He's terrific, isn't he? Defense attorney Joseph Tacopina will take a break. Nomi's got the news. Scott LoBaido still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Relax, okay?
Relax.
Should I do this? Oh, my. Quick shout out to my buddy Richie. Richie used to be, believe it or not, security for Gabriel when he went to the JCC in Boca Raton. That's how long I've known Richie for. He actually showed up at the colonoscopy center. We did that show live that day for Dr. George and my buddy Stefano. Anyway, his daughter is celebrating a birthday today, his daughter Gianna. So I do want to send Gianna Nichols. She's 2 today, 2 years old. Happy birthday from your dad, Richie, and your dad's friend, Sid Rosenberg. And I want to tell folks, yesterday I was in different parts of New Jersey, ended up at Trump National in Colts Neck, which is a lovely area. And there was a great event. Alex Zidane, again, running against Cory Booker. Great job last night by his whole crew. Jackie Tobacco and Victoria Capish and Cara and everybody in and around that spoke that night. Michael Testa, terrific senator from New Jersey. Alex Bauer. You see Alexandra on TV all the time. My buddy Stu Podolsky, he owns a beautiful hotel. If you're ever in Asbury Park, New Jersey, maybe you just want to go punch Bruce across the face. He's got the old Berkeley. That's the oldest hotel in New Jersey. It's a gorgeous place. He's done a tremendous job. He's got the Empire, too, here in New York City by Lincoln Center. Anyway, if you're looking for a nice hotel on the beach in Jersey by Asbury Park, my buddy Stu's place, the Berkeley, is gorgeous. And I know that Lewis, there was a time when, right down the block from that hotel, is the Stone Pony. I know you've been there at least a couple of times, right?
Never been there.
Oh, you've never been there?
I've been around it.
No kidding. I would have bet money you actually were there. Because I know, there was a time like me when you loved Bruce, and not anymore, of course.
Seems like a long time.
I know. O'Reilly took him to task last night. It was great. I got a break because I got to get to the Relentless Patriot, the amazing artist, the man who's going to actually accept an award on my behalf tonight. We're going to talk to my buddy Scott LoBaido right after these messages.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So initially I was a little pissed at LoBaido because he pulled one of his world-famous art stunts yesterday. And the one before yesterday I think I was at, which was the unveiling of that amazing Mamdani painting right outside of City Hall. LoBaido and I did it together, his amazing painting. It was hosted by Johnny Tobacco. It was actually on Wise Guys. But then it occurred to me that I was in New Jersey all day yesterday, so I couldn't come anyway. But I guess Scotty pulled off another one of his amazing art stunts at Grand Central Terminal. But I'm not sure it ended well, as it usually doesn't. Scott is an amazing artist. He really is. He is very talented. Relentless patriot, just a great American. So did you get arrested again yesterday or no?
No, I dropped that option that I did have. First off, I'm the relentless patriot, but I have been haunted all morning by the relentless Johnny Tobacco to try to convince you to still stop by this event tonight. I know you can't, but I was told by Johnny that I would be in trouble if I didn't ask you.
No, I know.
Sweetens the deal. Every minute he sweetens the deal.
I know. He's great. He keeps texting me, and believe me, Chris Lenzo, who actually runs that Metropolitan Club, Scott, and she's honored me 1,000,000 times in the past. She keeps texting me, and they could not be any nicer. And again, I haven't missed any of these Met Club events in the 10 years I've been here, but these were birthday plans that Danielle put out a while ago. It includes restaurants and hotel stays, and it's just going to be really difficult for me to ditch my wife and my friends at a restaurant.
Yeah. That's what I told them. It's listen, you're a superstar now, and you're getting pulled everywhere. And I know how
true.
it is. My girlfriend's like, "Where you going now? Don't we have stuff to do? You promised me this." You got to balance it out. So fair enough. But if you want, I will accept the award tonight. Send me a little something later on, what you want me to say. And
No, I'm not going to do that. First of all, I want you to accept the award, and this is no disrespect to anybody else there tonight. I have a lot of friends there tonight, so do you. From Emily Austin to Randy Fine to Rudy Giuliani to the fine folks that run it. But if they were to ask me, and I'm being honest, I'm not patronizing you, if they were to ask me, if everybody there, if you couldn't be there, Sid, who would you pick to accept your award? It would be you. So you don't need me to say anything. You go up there. You know me as well as anybody. You're great. People love you. You do your thing. I'd be honored to have you accept my award.
Perfect. Done. Awesome.
Thank you.
So anyway, yesterday it was such a beautiful day. I figured, let me do another creative social experiment with my artwork. And that portrait of Ma'am Dandy that you helped unveil at City Hall was such a big hit. Matter of fact, I'm dropping it off tonight. It's going to be on display at the event tonight.
Oh wow!
So to get
it's amazing.
That'll be fun.
It's amazing.
So I never did anything in Grand Central Terminal except have some cocktails. Went with Chuck Zito a couple of weeks ago to the Great Palladino restaurant. If you haven't been there, it's pretty awesome.
You know what's funny about that? I'm glad you mentioned that place. So Mike Breen, the Hall of Fame announcer for the Knicks and the NBA. Everybody loves Mike Breen. So he's best friends with the owner of Palladino's, Mr. Palladino himself. And we were looking.
Cop, actually.
Yes,
he's a cop.
That's exactly right. And now he spends most of his time outside the state. But regardless, I said to Mike, it's Valentine's Day. We're bored of the same old restaurants. Maybe I'll try Palladino Steakhouse tonight. So me, Danielle, and our friends Orrin and Paige, the same foursome that's going to Sammy's Romanian tonight, went to Palladino's for the first time this year on Valentine's Day in Grand Central, and we loved it. So I'm with you.
It's just, and it's a historical. I mean, you're sitting there and you're looking at Grand Central Terminal. It's beautiful. It's epic. It's New York, and which is where I want to get to my point with what I did yesterday. I got to do these things. It's in that I have to just provoke and get emotion out of people, especially what's going on. So I made these 24 by 36 printouts of that Ma'am Dandy painting, the mayor's official portrait I did. And I put frames on them, lightweight, and I put some double-sided tape. And I went through the terminal. I had some friends filming it. And I started putting these things up. And it's a beautiful place, Grand Central Terminal. Very clean. There's no graffiti. There's no signage or nothing. And I put up about 10 of them, and then I didn't get to finish, and all of a sudden the cops surrounded me, the MTA cops. And then I realized, here's my point. They gave me the option. They were like, look, we want to, we understand what you do, but it's illegal. It's called littering, whatever. If you leave now, it's okay. And I was like, well, I really want to put one more up. And he goes, well, then we're going to have to arrest you. And I was like, nah, I'm going to save this one. And these guys were so good to me. And I never dealt with the MTA cops before. And I've dealt with cops, as you know. I've been arrested 1,000,000 times. But it was the system. Here's the point I want to make. I got my point across. People loved it. People hated it. But how they ran, it's always so safe in there. I never realized how safe it is. There's no assholes running around screaming, protesting, robbing people that I see anytime I'm there. It's always a smooth transition. And I realized when I walked in and I put up my first sign, I'm discreet. I look around the painting, and I saw this one guy there who was just like a regular businessman on his way to meet somebody for business. And at the end of my situation, as I'm being escorted out, I saw him again on the other side of the terminal, and he winked at the cops. And I said, aha, very well played. And then outside, he walked by again just to see what I was up to. And I just said, I didn't even look, I just said, well played. I'm not going to give it away what he looked like, but the point is, it is a well-oiled machine. And I think a lot more public places should be like that. How they run, these undercover guys, keeping an eye on things. It was like a spy movie. So it was beautiful. Kudos to them for letting me kind of get away what I did, but, not really. But it was well played.
Sounded like it was well played and sounded like it was great. I know you want to touch, too, on this animal that stopped this girl because she wouldn't give a phone number to him. I know the story. It's brutal.
It's horrible, man. I mean, look, we were all boys. We all get into fights. We all see boys fighting. It's part of, that's part of what we do. You get in no fight, protecting a girl, whatever. But to see this boy, like, if you watch the video, it is the most, it just got, and it's very hard to get me squeamish. It really is. I'm very thick-skinned. I'm a New Yorker, just like you. But to see him slam her like a wrestler onto the concrete and then to stomp on her face, like a scene from Goodfellas when De Niro stomps on it, he does that. It was just heartbreaking.
Billy Bats.
And
wasn't it Billy Bats? They stopped on his face in the bar?
Yes. And, anything that De Niro, when he was he wasn't a jerk off.
That was Frank Vincent, who was a great actor. He's on he actually played Phil Leotardo on The Sopranos, and his head got ran over in the gas station. But he was with the New York crime family. That's right. Okay. So you're right. So he was stomping on her face.
And then he has this smirk, like he was proud of what he did. And why are we still continuing with this victim of society? Oh, he's a young kid. He's 14 years old. His name can't be printed. But I really want to reach out. I don't know how far my voice goes on your show. Somebody from that little girl's family needs to find this effing animal and correct him. Correct him. This is why society is breaking down, because we become so numb to this. We don't talk about that girl that got set on fire on the subway. That just happened. It's New York by an illegal alien. It's funny. They tried to literally hang him, put him in jail for life, Donald Trump, because he said, grab them by the pee. He said that. But you saw the story the other day. I think you talked about it. This illegal alien who grabbed and groped a bunch of these young high school girls and grabbed them by the pee.
Yep.
And he's a victim of society. He's protected because of the sanctuary city, and I think he's getting like 100 days in jail. Where is the proper punishment for the crimes? Where has this? How did this go off track? That this is where our society is spiraling. Whether it's Luigi Mangione, he's maybe right for what he did. How are we? I can't. Can you figure it out?
No. I mean, he murdered an innocent father of two, and you're right. People love him. They call him a hero. They call Brian Thompson a terrorist, the guy that got murdered. I don't know how we got. Well, I know how we got here, but I can tell you this: it's going to get worse because the mayor is all for the criminals. He's not for the good guys. He doesn't like the cops. He doesn't like LoBaido. Doesn't like Rosenberg. He's all for the criminals. So as bad as it's gotten, and it's gotten progressively worse, we have not hit rock bottom yet. Not yet.
It's the fire needs to continue to burn.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And again, it's almost like you want it to burn.
I do. I do.
The quicker it burns, the quicker it rejuvenates.
That's right.
As I always say.
We got to hit our knees. We got to hit rock bottom. This city has to go to absolute trash, which we're just about there anyway. And then, like a recovering addict, then we've got a chance to heal. So listen, tonight, you're my guy. I love this. Thank you for doing this. Johnny Tobacco, I know you're listening. Scott LoBaido's the guy. Chris Alenzo. Scott LoBaido's the guy. Congratulations on another big day at Grand Central yesterday. And thank you, Scott LoBaido, for being out there for me tonight. It's kind of like John Travolta and Danny Zuko and Kaniki in Greece. You know what I'm saying? I got hit in the head. I can't drive. You drive now, okay? Me and you. We're like
right,
Danny
done deal.
Zuko and Kanicki, okay?
I will represent you properly, my good man.
All right, bro. I love you. Great job, Scotty. Great job as always. We'll talk again tonight. I'll talk to you later, okay?
All right, later, brother.
See you, buddy. Great job. Scott LoBaido. I do love that guy. I really love him. He's New York. He's America. He's patriotic. He's on the right side of every issue. He cares about all of you out there. He really does. And he's so talented, man. He unveiled that painting of Mamdani at City Hall. I was there about 3 weeks ago. It was funny. He actually unveiled 2 paintings. One was a nice Mamdani, and then the real one came out, and it was brilliant. I only wish I saw what he did yesterday in Grand Central, but he is one of our real treasures. I talk about the fighters in New York, Vicky Paladino. She's a fighter. People tend to say very nice things about me. Scott LoBaido is right there at the top with us. He's a terrific guy. We're lucky to have him. Thank you, Scott. Lou, I think we're done, right? Lou, what an amazing job this week as always. You're amazing. Justin Ellick, great job as well. Noam Layden, best news guy in the business. Lizzie Rodabellish. She's going to be here today, too. She's great. Great week of shows. Thank you, everybody. And as our dear friend Gene would say, God willing, we'll all be back Monday morning at 6 a.m. for a brand new week of Sid and Friends in the Morning Show. Until then, if you are going to the Met Gala tonight, and again, honoring Rudy Giuliani and Emily Austin, Randy Fine, Blaire White's going to be there, and my man LoBaido's going to be there, Tobacco. Enjoy yourself tonight. Wish I was there, but you guys will be fine. We'll all be back on Monday morning. Until then, from all of us to all of you, New York City, hey, Ken Griffin, you're a hero. F you, Mamdani. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?